Chapter 432. Damn, that was just too much. Lin Fan was furious. It was okay if the Alliance headquarters wanted him, but why did the top sects join in? He didn't offend too many top sects, right? He had already thought about it. As long as they dared to arrest him, then their friendship would end. From now on, they would kill the Alliance first and then the top sections. Are you sure that they have already arrested me? Lin Fan asked. He still wanted to be sure. The man said, I work in the Alliance headquarters and I saw news about you. The Alliance headquarters leaked news about you, but for a period of time, the top sects didn't believe it. But recently they all believed it and started to search for you. The Alliance headquarters even sent your photo over. He was wondering why this person looked so familiar. Thinking about it, he was someone wanted by the Alliance. Lin Fan thought about it and instantly understood many things. When he was at the G family, he had a conflict with Supreme Saint sect, and at that time, he had already exposed himself. The old man from Supreme Saint sect said that he knew who he was. It was obvious that the Alliance headquarters had already started to arrest him. But the top sects didn't believe it at the start. It was definitely because he had shown too much strength when he fought with the Supreme Saint sect old man and they really paid attention to him. This was why the top sects started to arrest him. I understand. These people are really despicable. Lin Fan said and then looked at everyone. All of you are from the peace faction, but there is no point in coming here. The Alliance headquarters has already started the war and they have already occupied 28 cities. Now, they probably have even more. The old man from the peace faction was called Wang Xing, and he was once a teacher. As he reached Dao Realm, the Alliance headquarters could nominate him as a 9-star general, but he rejected it. He didn't want to join the battle. Especially the war between races. Be it the rich land or the Alliance, they should all develop peacefully. If there was a need, they could work together. Not the current battle. Wang Xing said, no matter whether or not it is useful, we can only do what we have to do. Now that most of the 9-star generals want to invade, it is impossible to persuade them to turn back. The only thing we can do is to persuade those invading Alliance members to return and not be tempted by those 9-star generals. Lin Fan said, actually, what you said is useless. Only by being strong enough to scare them will they know that they can't offend us. One has to say that the Alliance headquarters is really united, much more so than us. If those top sects could unite, then your Alliance wouldn't be able to do anything. Wang Xing agreed with what Lin Fan said and nodded his head. You are right, that is indeed the case. If all of you are united, the Alliance headquarters won't be able to do anything. But this battle is unavoidable. The Alliance has used up all their resources, and the ones they have can only last for 10 years. Now that the headquarters have occupied so many places and are producing large amounts of resources, the Alliance headquarters have seen meat and it is tough for them to give in. Oh, by the way, I'm afraid something will happen soon. I got news from the inside that the headquarters and the Imperial Dynasty have made new progress in their cooperation. It seems like they are going to attack the sections. Lin Fan frowned and his expression was solemn. That shouldn't be possible. Now that the top sects have formed 4 alliances, attacking one top sect is the same as attacking an alliance. The Alliance headquarters does have experts, but they shouldn't be so stupid to fight against an alliance. He didn't know how strong the Alliance headquarters was. But based on what happened in the past, the Alliance headquarters was strong, but if they really fought against an alliance, they would suffer heavy losses. Wang Xing shook his head. I don't know the exact situation, but the news should be accurate. Lin Fan was in deep thought. How much strength did the Imperial Dynasty have? If they worked with the Alliance headquarters, wouldn't they just be cannon fodder? But he didn't think that King Wudong was so stupid. Forget it, he didn't want to think about it anymore. These things weren't important to him. They could fight their own battles and he just needed to raise his strength. Once he raised his cultivation, then everything else wouldn't be a problem at all. The Alliance had factions that wanted peace. It seemed like he had to pay attention in the future. No matter what, it was a good thing that they were willing to help. Actually, I think you should change into our clothes. If you continue to head in like that, if you meet experts, you won't even have a chance to speak and will be killed. Lin Fan said. He was trying to persuade them to pay attention. Wang Xing said, "We don't want to change our clothes. The main reason is to let the rich land people know that the Alliance wants peace, and we don't want to fight." Lin Fan didn't say much as he had already said what he needed to say. If they didn't want to change, then that was their own problem. If they were beaten to death because of a misunderstanding, then they could only blame themselves for not listening to orders. Then, how are the people in the cities that the Alliance has occupied? Lin Fan asked. Wang Xing said, "You don't have to worry about that. There weren't any killings, but their lives aren't good. They are all treated as free labor. As there are people in the Alliance who are against bloodshed, the people in the cities are temporarily safe." Lin Fan then chatted with them about some things. After Wang Xing's explanation, Lin Fan found out about many things. In the territory that the Alliance occupied, there were many detection devices that would automatically scan the current image. Lin Fan's face was already entered, and as long as he appeared in the Alliance's territory, an alarm would sound and the Alliance would notice him. He had nothing to say about the Alliance's technology and could only say that they were amazing. The situation made him feel helpless. In the end, he was just too weak. His current strength didn't affect the situation at all. Even his father could only take things one step at a time and wait for a chance to come. As for using absolute strength to suppress everything, that was simply impossible. There were too many top sects and they formed 4 factions. Lin Wani might be strong and invincible in a one-on-one fight, but if he was surrounded by a bunch of people, he would definitely die. Lin Fan seemed like he was randomly causing trouble, but actually, he had a goal. The top sects couldn't be offended. The Alliance headquarters couldn't be offended either. He could only offend some small fries to accumulate rage points and raise his own strength. Once his strength reached a certain realm, he would be able to soar into the sky. Who else would dare to block his path? They talked about many things during the night. Wang Xing cupped his fists. Sect Leader Lin, then we will say goodbye here. I hope that you pay more attention and don't underestimate the Alliance. Although Zhu Daoshun and Wu Zhiga are the strongest 9-star generals in the Alliance, there are people above them. Lin Fan said, Thank you. But all of you have to be careful. There aren't many reasonable people like me." Wang Xing looked at Lin Fan like he wanted to say something but he didn't know what to say. Very quickly, Lin Fan split up with them. They continued to head into the distance while Lin Fan walked in the opposite direction. He had to be careful in the future. He was wanted by the top sections. If they bumped into him, they would definitely kill him. Damn. Lin Fan remembered the top sects and the Alliance in his heart. Just you wait, one day he would teach them a lesson. He thought about how happy his life was in the past. He was a perfect rich family young master. But now, he was actually forced to walk on this path of no return. Zhao family. An island at the border of Dragon Island. The last time old ancestor Zhao returned, he trashed Zhao family elder Zhao Sun. At the same time, he removed the Zhao family head position and that caused chaos in the Zhao family. Fourth brother Zhao Xianwang was placed in high regard by the old ancestor and he gave him such a heavy responsibility. Zhao Zhangtian said, "Big brother, your position as the family head has been removed and Zhao Sun has been trashed. The old ancestor doesn't care much about me. Only fourth brother has become his confidant. Once this matter is over, I think that the position of Zhao family head will be taken away by him. Our Zhao family is strong and we have our own foundations. We also have enough strength, so why can't we be the head? Why do we have to protect the imperial dynasty? I really don't understand, I really don't understand." Zhao Sun didn't say anything. He had been trashed long ago, and it was as if the sky had collapsed. He hated the old ancestor, but he didn't dare to say anything. He had been thinking about why the old ancestor wanted to cut off his path of retreat. Was it because his words made him unhappy that he wanted to trash him? Wasn't he a descendant of the Zhao family? Second brother, don't speak nonsense. The old ancestor has his own intentions. What is the point of us guessing so much? Moreover, Xian King is our fourth brother. If he can become the Zhao family head, isn't it the same? The former Zhao family head said calmly. He seemed really calm, but everyone present could sense the rage in his heart. He just hid it too deeply. Big brother, recently you have left Dragon Island frequently. Did something happen? Zhao Zhangtian asked. Nothing much, I just went outside to find out some news. Zhao Zhangtian didn't ask. He felt like Big Brother was hiding something from them. Big Brother, no matter what, we can't have anything to do with the alliance. They are all ambitious people, and they will eat us up. The Zhao family head smiled and waved his hands. How was that possible? Everything here was under old ancestor Zhao's control. Although he didn't know what the few of them were talking about, it was best if they didn't force him to attack. In the hall, when he trashed Zhao Sun and removed the family head position, he knew that they wouldn't let this matter rest. A vengeful heart would make one disregard family and friends. But as the Zhao family old ancestor, he had the responsibility to lead them. At the same time, he would guide them to the right path and give them a chance to turn over a new leaf. This was why he only sent Zhao Xianwang to find the prince and not personally head over. After all, he had to take charge here. It was to prevent such things from happening. Lin Fan walked forwards, and as he walked, he felt like something was off. This place is a little desolate. He looked at the environment in front of him and suddenly felt that something was wrong. Chapter 433. Just how big was the rich land? That was tough to answer. Even the top sects hadn't seen it all. Who knows where I am? Why haven't I seen it before? He was in a forest and the trees around were really thick. If this wasn't the border, he would have thought that there were demons here. He didn't think too much and just headed in. The unknown made one curious. After a long while, Lin Fan noticed footprints on the ground and was shocked. He didn't expect that there would be people here. Were they primitive people? That was a possibility. After all, this place was really desolate and there were so many trees. It was impossible to find people in this area. Lin Fan just walked like that. Until the next morning, a streak of sunlight descended from the sky and a primitive village appeared in front of his eyes. So, it is a village. I thought that it was primitive people. I was happy for nothing. Lin Fan muttered. As expected, he was thinking too much. If he knew that this would happen, he wouldn't have walked for so long like a fool. He just didn't want to miss something that no one knew about. Very quickly, Lin Fan entered the village. When he saw a statue in the middle of the village, he was stunned. This statue? It wasn't that the statue looked like someone and he didn't recognize what it was, but he sensed a thick faith power from the statue. The faith power was gathered in the statue and wasn't absorbed. It just stayed there. Damn. If he didn't get the legacy of the Darkness Chief God, naturally, he wouldn't be able to notice the thick faith power. But now he could see it really clearly. What is going on? Lin Fan felt that things were different. The world he was in didn't have a chief god cultivation system, and he obtained it by chance. Did this world have a different system in the past? Forget it, he didn't want to think about it. His head hurt. Now that he had to face the Alliance and the top sects, he didn't have the time to think about all this. However, the faith that was emanating from the statue was extremely attractive to Lin Fan. Weird, how can a village have such thick faith? I really don't understand. Lin Fan shook his head in confusion. He just couldn't understand it. Just as Lin Fan was thinking about all this, a voice spread out from not far away. Who are you? An old man appeared in the distance and looked at Lin Fan warily. Lin Fan said, "I just happened to pass by and saw a village, so I came to take a look." He felt that there was something wrong with this village. Why was there only an old man? Where were the others? Why wasn't there even a shadow? How strange. "Are you lost? I'll have someone send you away later," the old man said. Lin Fan pointed at the statue and asked curiously, "Excuse me, what is this statue? Don't be rude." Immediately, the old man, who had a gentle expression, said angrily, leave this place. We don't welcome you here." Lin Fan was stunned. What was going on? Why did the old man suddenly turn hostile? Could it be that this statue had a very high status in this village? Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. At the thought of this, Lin Fan had an incredible idea. "Old man, do you think the statue looks like me?" Lin Fan stood beside the statue and absorbed the faith power from it. At the same time, his master god power seeped out slowly and wrapped around the statue. The old man's expression changed. Just as he was about to scold Lin Fan, his expression changed when he saw the scenes in front of him. His mouth was agape, and it was hard to describe. Or rather, he could put down an egg. The statue shone with a purple light. But very quickly, the purple light disappeared. But what shocked the old man the most was that the statue's face actually changed. It then turned into Lin Fan's face. Shortly after, a god aura spread out from Lin Fan's body. This was the aura of a chief god that shone down on the world. The old man was covered by the aura like he was bathing in sunlight, and it was really warm. "Do I look like you?" Lin Fan asked once more. He absorbed the faith from the statue and felt like he had become a fatty. The god domain in his body changed like it had been replenished. Lin Fan knew from the legacy that chief god domain was another type of cultivation system. But he felt like this system was much more problematic than the small support system. What was faith power? It was just a waste of time. At that moment, the old man opened his mouth and said, "Similar? It is just too similar." The moment he said that, there was a putong. The old man knelt down like he was worshipping the god in his heart. Suddenly, Lin Fan realized that something wasn't right. Faith spread out from the old man's body, and the color rose from gray to purple. Damn! How was that possible? From the start, he had done many experiments and realized that purple faith was the hardest to reach. Until now, only Go Z and his cousin had reached it. Now this was the third. Lin Fan guessed that this statue was the faith of the village, and this old man had been worshipping it since he was young. This was why the statue was able to gather a large ball of faith power. But this statue was a dead object and couldn't absorb the faith power, which was why it continued to exist. What about the others in the village? Lin Fan asked. Needless to say, this old man believed in him so much, which meant that he had a lot of trust in him. He probably regarded him as a god. So, he didn't need to explain too much. In case he explained too much and caused a negative impact. "God, they are all sick, please save them," the old man begged. "Let's go take a look." Lin Fan was interested. If an old man was so amazing, then wouldn't the others be even more amazing? He understood now. Faith really depended on the person. The disciples he had recruited from other sects were all useless. After such a long time, all of them were still at the gray faith level. They really weren't good enough. But looking at the situation, it was obvious that the old man had transferred his faith from the statue to him. When Lin Fan asked the old man why the villagers were sick and he was fine, the old man praised him and said that he was really loyal to the god and was protected by him. As for them, they didn't believe in him and were unable to be protected by him. Toward such a reason, Lin Fan had nothing to say. But the old man's words revealed some information to him. Other people probably didn't believe in him like the old man. Very quickly, he followed the old man to a shed. There were many people lying in the shed. There were men and women, old and young. but they weren't in a good state. There were many pustules on their bodies. Who knew what they were, and there was even a stench spreading out. Damn. He really couldn't take it. But he had no choice. His identity was a god, and even if he couldn't take it, he had to bear with it. But here came the tough thing. He was very good at beating people up, but it was a little difficult to save people now. He didn't know how to treat illnesses. Instantly, he scolded himself for being stupid. The chief god legacy used faith to heal. No matter what kind of existence the darkness chief god was, he was still a chief god. My believers, do they believe in me like you? Lin Fan asked solemnly. He didn't care so much. He didn't have any other meaning when he said that. He just had to go through the formalities. The old man said, "Yes, they also believe in you, just like me." Lin Fan raised his hand and a ball of light gathered in his palm. The light floated into the air, and turned into droplets of rain that scattered down, covering all the people in the tent. Shortly after, the pustules on the bodies of the people in the tent disappeared at a visible rate. The rapid breathing also gradually calmed down. When the old man saw that, he exclaimed, "This was a miracle, no, this was the God Lord's gift." He knelt on the ground again and worshipped Lin Fan. Lin Fan felt a little awkward. The chief god's way of accepting believers was a little unbearable. But he had no choice. Some things had to be done in a different way. The people in the tent woke up. All of them thought that they would die, but now that their heads were clear and their bodies were filled with energy, it was as if nothing had happened. When the villagers saw the chief kneel on the ground, they exclaimed, "Chief, what are you doing?" When the chief saw that the villagers had recovered, he was really excited. But when he thought about how the God Lord was still around, his expression turned solemn. "Aren't you all coming over to worship him? If not for him being merciful, all of you would have died." The villagers were stunned by the chief's words. Some of them believed his words. Those who believed in the God Lord all knelt down right away. But some of them were confused. They knew about the statue in the middle of the village. They heard that it had been passed down for a long time. The chief believed in that legend. But some of them didn't believe it and felt like it was fake. It was just a story made up by the people in the past. But with the current situation, they knew that they had no choice but to believe it. They knelt down too. Lin Fan realized that more than half of the villagers who had woken up had provided faith. There were blue and gold faith. But there were some who didn't. They probably didn't trust the God Lord from the start. All of you rise. Believe in me. The God Light will cover and protect all of you. Lin Fan said and then looked at the old man. "I am the Darkness Chief God and I will protect your village. I have sensed your faith and will give you strength." The moment he said that, power was transmitted along the faith lines. The old man waited for the God Lord to reward him. Instantly, he felt a mysterious power spread towards him. He wanted to roar. "My body is filled with power." The surrounding villagers noticed the changes in the chief, and their expressions were filled with shock. Lin Fan didn't raise the old man's strength too high. He let him feel it first. Not bad. It was really not bad. He didn't lose out at all. Very quickly, the legacy ended. The old man knelt on the ground and cried in gratitude, "Thank you, God Lord." He was really emotional and nearly kissed Lin Fan's toes. Chapter 434. Healing the villagers was a good start. Lin Fan found out from the chief that this statue had existed since a long time ago. No one knew how long it had existed for, but anyway, it had existed for a long time. The chief heard from the old people that this was the God Lord, the guardian god of their village. But they didn't know the name of the God Lord. Thus, Lin Fan told them that the god they believed in was called the Darkness Chief God. Actually, it wasn't right for him to do that. This village must have once been occupied by a master god who passed down his faith. Later on, it was abandoned and the master god disappeared, leaving behind a statue, and that was it. As for Lin Fan, it was the latter who had arrived and occupied it right away. Today, The villagers surrounded the statue. Lin Fan stood beside it. Some of them looked at the statue and then at Lin Fan. One had to say, the statue's face was really similar to Lin Fan's, like it was carved from the same mold. How could it not be similar? Lin Fan cheated and used faith to change his looks, changing the statue's face to his. At that moment, Lin Fan opened his arms and gave off a godly aura. If Zhang Tianshan was here, he would have knelt down and kowtowed. You are the true godly one and I am just a little brother. Believe in the darkness chief god and the god light will be with all of you. I will give this village a name, Darkness City. The moment Lin Fan opened his mouth, a godly light enveloped the entire dilapidated village. One couldn't blame Lin Fan for bragging. A broken village could be named a city. But as a chief god, he had to have the style of a chief god. Instantly, with the statue as a medium, Lin Fan's faith power spread into the statue. Instantly, an unlimited amount of light exploded and covered the village. A miracle has descended. The chief lowered his head and shouted. He was so emotional that his body was trembling. One could say that the chief was the person who believed in Lin Fan the most. Although the others believed too, they weren't at the same level as the chief. But after Lin Fan's miracle, many people's faith swelled. Those that were originally at the golden level instantly rose to the purple level. They were educated by their fathers since young and had a natural respect for the statue. Especially when the statue and the miracle really appeared, the only doubt in their hearts was completely dispelled, and their faith was enhanced. At that moment, the village chief was no longer the only one with a violet faith. The other villagers had also reached the violet faith level. But in Lin Fan's eyes, there were still some villagers who were dragging him down. Faith was only a gloomy gray. In other words, after experiencing this incident, he had gone from a non-believer to a beginner believer. It was really embarrassing. Those who believe in the darkness chief god will be blessed. As soon as he finished speaking, using faith as a medium, Lin Fan transmitted his strength over. Let's not talk too much nonsense. It was better to level up first. All of a sudden, all of the villagers who had faith in Lin Fan could feel a tremendous amount of power descending upon them. His clothes were torn. A villager shouted exaggeratedly, "I feel like I'm going to explode." The shock wave of power rippled out. In the blink of an eye, he had become a powerhouse from an ordinary person. This speed was simply too fast. And this was also Lin Fan's foundation. It was like he had activated the training mode and was slowly building up his foundations. When the time came, he would bring a bunch of Dao Realm experts to sweep through everything. He had to beat the crap out of the Alliance and those top sections. Some of the villagers who didn't have enough faith thought that they were very powerful, but when they saw the formation of the others, they were dumbfounded. Was this a joke? This increase was just too terrifying. Why did this happen? Why did they only increase by so little? Lin Fan was really satisfied with the current situation. 13 of the villagers had reached Domain Realm. If he wasn't afraid that they would lose control if he raised them to Dao Realm, he would have raised them to Dao Realm long ago. All of you are the servants of the darkness chief god. Your faith is just too weak. But I am willing to give all of you a chance. I hope that you won't disappoint me. He pointed out the villagers who weren't strong enough. He hoped that they could work hard and not drag him down. The village chief looked at the villagers who were pointed out and frowned unhappily. He remembered them in his heart. Once the chief god left, naturally, he would scold them. Their village believed in the darkness chief god for generations, so how could they make him unhappy? That was a blasphemy towards the chief god. It was also a dereliction of his duty as the village chief. Lin Fan felt that the chief god's legacy was really amazing. The village was already covered by the chief god's world barrier. But he didn't want to walk the chief god system. The drawbacks were huge. He relied on faith to survive. Without faith, he had nothing. Even the chief god who formed the chief god core and god domain were the same. It was best if he just relied on the small support system to raise his strength. As for the chief god legacy, he would just use it to form helpers. If there were any other master gods who knew of Lin Fan's thoughts, they would definitely have smashed Lin Fan's doghead. Who the F***CK said that master gods had a lot of flaws. He had already done everything he needed to do. Lin Fan was prepared to leave. It wasn't good to stay for too long, and it would lower his status. I will give you glory. You are the city lord of Darkness City. If anything happens, just pray. The moment he said this, Lin Fan's body turned into light particles and disappeared in front of everyone. Chief God. The village chief shouted once more. Shortly after, the villagers did the same. They totally believed in Lin Fan. In their hearts, the person they worshipped in the past was the Darkness Chief God. They had never seen the Chief God. Although they believed in him in the past, they always had their doubt. Now that the Chief God had descended, what else could they doubt? The legends and legacy of the village were all real. Their village was a place covered by the Chief God's light. Seeing the Chief God disappear, the village chief's expression became solemn. He looked at the villagers that the Chief God pointed out and scolded, "All of you disappoint me. From today onwards, pray for me every day." The villagers were helpless and even wanted to cry. But they realized where their problems were. They swore that they would change, and that this couldn't continue. Lin Fan was satisfied. What was this called? Right, it was called a plan. Although the huge matter hadn't started yet, he planned ahead, and when the time came, he would be able to scare them to death. The Darkness God domain in his body obtained so much faith, and it started to change. Especially when there was a statue in the hall that gave off a bright light. Based on the legacy, this was a god servant. The servant of the chief god could inherit a certain ability. Based on what the legacy said, it was a fake god. They had a special god core but were unable to develop their own faith. This thing was a little high-end. But he wasn't in a rush. When he had a chance next time, he would test it out. A few days later, Lin Fan realized that the village provided faith every day. It was even better than the sect disciples he took in. He slowly realized that faith was something that had to be developed from a young age. Look at how amazing the people in that village were. When they first met and found out that he was the Darkness Chief God, their faith soared to purple. That was the highest level of faith. They were able to receive his strongest power. Recently, he was really relaxed and nothing much happened. Actually, what he didn't know was that the top sects weren't just saying that. They were really searching for Lin Fan. The G family went to Supreme Saint's sect to ask for forgiveness. It was normal for them to be insulted. Of course, they were just insulted verbally. After all, old ancestor G's cultivation had reached Dao Realm Stage 5. He had to give them some face. Of course, Supreme Saint's sect naturally asked Old Ancestor G about Lin Fan's exact situation. Old Ancestor G shook his head and didn't say where Lin Fan was. As for the sect that Ji Chong went to, he didn't say anything either. He didn't want to offend both sides. If he told them where Ji Chong was brought to, Supreme Saint's sect would definitely charge over. Wouldn't they be offending Lin Fan then? This was why he acted like he didn't know. Anyway, it wasn't a big deal. DZ was furious about the G family's actions. Ji Shuefei was taken by someone else. Forget it, he didn't need it. But since they dared to touch the woman he liked, that person had to die. What a waste. When DZ brought the experts to Xiantian sect, what they left was a mess. There wasn't even a single person left. Xiantian sect had all moved and was long gone. When DZ saw this, he was furious. Damn, they were really damn. This imperial prince had worked so hard to get here. Could this be the result? He really wanted to wipe out Xiantian sect. 9 Demon, how are we going to continue living like this? Lin Fan rubbed 9 Demon's head and asked. He felt really helpless. When he went out, 9 demon accompanied him, and no one talked to him. 9 demon shook its 9 heads. It couldn't speak, but it used its actions to say that it could touch its head. Lin Fan was helpless and wanted to return to Marshall Path Mountain. His purpose for coming out was simple. He wanted to meet some people and have a good fight with them. But the journey was a little off and it wasn't perfect. Apart from the village he met a while ago, he didn't face anything else. Alliance headquarters. DDD. High-end equipment gave out sounds. The Alliance technicians were shocked. They tapped their fingers and images appeared. Face recognition. As long as a special group of people appeared, they would be locked onto. Inform them that we have found Lin Wani's son. He is active in our territory. The Alliance technicians were pumped up. Who knew that they would really find him? This was the first time they had used such a method to find someone. Lin Fan's face was imprinted into the equipment. Even if Lin Fan wore a mask, as long as he revealed his eyes, they would be able to analyze him. Very quickly. When the 9-star generals found out about this, naturally, they didn't say anything more. Chase. Capture the kid. If he resisted too much, then kill him. Chapter 435. To the Alliance headquarters, when they noticed that Lin Fan had appeared, they were so excited that they were about to jump up. Not to mention how emotional they were. The headquarters 9-star generals were all pumped up. Zhu Daoshan was the first. Leave this kid to me. I will definitely kill him, and let Lin Wani taste the pain of losing his son. The moment the target appeared, the strongest 9-star generals had their eyes on him. If this happened to anyone else, it would be a tragedy. If other people knew about this, they would definitely exclaim that they were amazing. Forget it, forget it. They didn't want to think about anything else. They would just surrender and not resist. The main reason was that the strongest 9-star generals were too strong and normal people wouldn't be able to block them. Only peak experts like Lin Wani could fight against the strongest 9-star generals. It was better for the others to just wash up and sleep. Wu Zhiga chuckled and said, "Brother Zhu, I think it's better to leave it to me. Back then, I was the one who killed his mother. Now that I've killed this brat, it can be considered as a reunion between mother and son." Zhu Daoshan was unhappy. What a cruel method. Why don't the two of us go together just in case? Even if something happens, who can save this kid from our hands? Moreover, even if Lin Wani comes, it is useless. He has already used his time source and has lost the ability to kill us. They were most afraid of Lin Wani's time source. But they knew that it was a one-time thing. After using it, it would end. The last time was really terrifying. 2 out of the 4 strongest 9-star generals died, and that was an unbearable blow to the entire alliance. If time could be turned back, and they had another chance, they definitely wouldn't let that happen again. But forget it. The 2 scapegoats wiped out Lin Wani's trump card. It also solved a lot of problems for them. Wu Zhiga wanted to reject. But thinking about what Zhu Daoshan said, he felt that it made sense. Just in case. If something really happened, like Lin Wani appearing halfway, then what should they do? If he went alone, there was a high chance that he would be beaten up so badly that even his parents wouldn't recognize him. This was why Wu Zhiga didn't say much and agreed with what Zhu Daoshan said. All right. If that's the case, we'll work together. However, I must be the one to kill this kid, Wu Zhiga said. Zhu Daoshan looked at Wu Zhiga and was speechless. How vicious. Based on what he was thinking, not only was he going to kill his mother, but he was also going to send them away. Was he going to force Lin Wani to go all out against the alliance? But if he could force Lin Wani to risk his life against the alliance, that would be a good choice. Even if the alliance headquarters had to pay a huge price, it was worth it. After all, Lin Wani's cultivation had already reached an extremely shocking level. Killing Lin Wani would cause the natives to lose their strongest backing. The other 9-star generals didn't say anything. They were already convinced by the way the 2 of them thought. The two of you can go together, but remember to capture them alive. Don't keep thinking about killing them," the commander said. At the same time, this was also a chance for the two of them. After all, what they had done previously was truly disappointing, and their status in the hearts of the citizens had plummeted. That was why he gave them this opportunity, to take down Lin Wanni's son and gain the trust of the citizens once more. Wu Zhiga nodded. He knew what the commander meant. He wanted to use the kid to threaten Lin Wanni. He also wanted to study how the kid did it. To be able to reach such a cultivation at such a young age was just too amazing. The Alliance headquarters didn't inform the top sects about this. There was no need. Now that two of the strongest 9-star generals attacked, as long as there weren't any experts involved, Lin Wanni definitely wouldn't be able to escape. Lin Fan stepped into the detection range of the Alliance equipment. His every action was being monitored. It was just that he didn't know. 9 Demon, do you feel like we are being monitored along the way? Lin Fan touched 9 Demon's head. There was no one to talk to, so he could only talk to the bug. Who could understand such loneliness? But 9 Demon was intelligent. Although it couldn't speak, its 9 heads were like rattledrums, as if it was agreeing with Lin Fan's words. Lin Fan sensed the fluctuations from 9 Demon. It seems like you sensed it too. The man and the bug spoke to each other just like that. The current 9 Demon was just average. When its main body appeared, it was like a mountain. One didn't need to mention how overbearing it was. This wasn't only because of 9 Demon's special ability, but also because Lin Fan would feed it the special aura of the bug controlling technique. When others cultivated the bug controlling technique, their aura was limited. But Lin Fan had an endless supply of it. He could eat as much as he wanted. Lin Fan looked around. That feeling kept following him, as though he was being spied on. But one had to say that. Even if he looked carefully, he didn't notice anything wrong. Suddenly, he thought about a possibility. The Alliance's technology was really amazing. Last time, there were Alliance experts who snuck into the city to set up equipment, but he noticed them. He caught them and then beat them up. But how could one person do such a thing? There had to be many Alliance members who did it. 9 Demon, it seems like someone noticed us, Lin Fan said. Instantly, a huge aura pressed over from the distance. Kid, you are smarter than your father. Unfortunately, you noticed too late. A voice spread out from the distance. Wu Zhiga and Zhu Daoshan appeared really normally. There weren't any shocking phenomenons. Lin Fan had a weird expression on his face, like he didn't expect that someone would actually come. How could no one come? During these few days, he was under the surveillance of the Alliance. Each and every move he made was seen clearly. Who? Lin Fan replied and then looked towards the two of them. When he saw their appearances, he was confused and started to think about it. Hey, you two look a little familiar. Oh right, you two are the 2 fat kids from that time. You were lucky that my father didn't beat you to death. His words didn't give the two of them any face at all. As expected, the expressions of the 2 strongest 9-star generals instantly turned ugly. That was their black mark. A mark that they wouldn't be able to get rid of for the rest of their lives. Kid, you are about to die and you still dare to be so stubborn. Let's see how you are going to continue to be so stubborn, Wu Zhiga said coldly. Towards Lin Wanni's son, his thoughts were simple. He wanted to kill him and end all problems once and for all. But the Alliance headquarters wanted to capture him. Kiki. Lin Fan smiled. Amazing, amazing. I didn't expect that I would be worthy of the Alliance headquarters' 2 strongest 9-star generals attacking me. It seems like you really want to kill me. He really didn't expect that. But thinking about it, it made sense. From the start, the Alliance found out about him. With how careful the Alliance headquarters was, they definitely wouldn't send weaklings to capture him. Naturally, they would send experts. But he didn't expect that it would be 2 of the strongest 9-star generals. They were people who could challenge his father. He felt that he was strong, but he wasn't so arrogant as to look down on them. Wu Zhiga said, "There's nothing we can do about it. Who asked you to be Lin Wanni's son and have such strength at such a young age? If we give you more time, I'm afraid even we won't be able to do anything to you." This was what Wu Zhiga was most worried about. In the past, he was just shocked and felt that this kid was amazing. But as Lin Fan's strength continued to increase, the Alliance headquarters felt that something was off. Dao Realm was really hard to cultivate, and the price one had to pay to raise by one stage was terrifying. Who knew that? This kid's cultivation actually reached Dao Realm Stage 2. Terrifying couldn't be used to describe him. Even if he ate pills, he wouldn't be so strong. Lin Fan said, "You are speaking the truth. That is indeed the case. If I had more time, your alliance would have no place to live." To be able to be so calm when facing two of the strongest 9-star generals, one had to say that Lin Fan was really overbearing. Lin Fan knew that the situation wasn't good. Wu Zhiga and Zhu Daoshan weren't people who could be offended. With his current strength, it was basically impossible for him to contend with the other party. Perhaps it was possible for both sides to engage in verbal sparring before they made a move. Zhu Daoshan smiled. "You are really confident. Unfortunately, you won't have the chance. Do you think that you can escape from us today? This old man advises you to stop dreaming. The two of us wanted to kill you, but the Alliance headquarters wanted to bring you back alive. If you surrender now, you won't have to suffer. Otherwise, if we don't show mercy and break your arms and legs, that would be bad." To Zhu Daoshan, such a mission wasn't obvious at all. But Lin Fan was Lin Wanni's son. As long as they brought him back, the Alliance headquarters would help them promote it. Then, their reputation would come back. At the same time, they knew that the Alliance headquarters wanted to study Lin Fan alive. Maybe they didn't need to dissect him, but they would definitely draw his blood and use him as a test subject to study the secrets of becoming stronger. This was what the Alliance headquarters always did. Lin Fan said, "Your Alliance headquarters is really cunning. I thought that you could take down the top sects, but now you want to chase me. Is there a need for that? Actually, to be more direct, your Alliance headquarters have no courage and are just cowards. If you weren't cowards, then your Alliance headquarters wouldn't be in such a state. As for chasing me, it is just because you are afraid. Truthfully, I can't beat you, but isn't it impossible for the two of you to capture me?" Instantly, laughter spread out. Wu Zhiga laughed. Lin Fan's arrogance made him laugh. "What is the point of talking so much nonsense to you? Just surrender." Wu Zhiga didn't want to say anything more to Lin Fan. Speaking so much to someone who was only at Dao Realm Stage 2 was just a waste of time. At that moment, a gigantic hand grabbed out at Lin Fan. He wanted to take him down in one strike. Chapter 436. Wu Zhiga's cultivation was really strong. It looked like a normal strike, but it could easily crush someone at Dao Realm Stage 5. "Brother Wu, are you serious?" Zhu Daoshan was shocked. "You can kill him with that." He didn't expect Wu Zhiga to be so vicious. Lin Fan was just at Dao Realm Stage 2, and that grab would definitely kill him. It seemed like Wu Zhiga didn't want to let Lin Fan live at all. Was he going to be so vicious right from the start? Wu Zhiga's expression didn't change. "Don't worry, he won't. He can survive Mao Shintai's attacks, so how can he not block that move?" Zhu Daoshan thought about it and felt that it made sense. His words made sense. Mao Shintai was really strong, but he was too trash. It was just so embarrassing for him to be killed by Lin Wanni. For him to be able to survive Mao Shintai's attacks meant that he had some ability. Lin Fan raised his head and looked at the giant hand. He was really calm and didn't react at all. To him, Wu Zhiga and the others were just too strong. Fighting them head-on wasn't a wise choice. He had to find a chance to flee. He didn't dare to be careless. It wasn't a wise choice to act cool in front of these two experts. 9 Demon. At that moment, Nine Demon turned back to his original form and instantly merged together, activating the bug transformation body. He then slapped out with a palm and the bugs from all directions surged over, forming a giant palm. This palm was formed from bugs that were changed by the bug controlling technique's special aura. You overestimate yourself. Wu Zhiga was filled with disdain and didn't care about Lin Fan at all. The two palms clashed. In the end, Wu Zhiga was stronger. The palm formed by the bugs collapsed and numerous small black bugs fell from the sky. They were then shattered by the ripples in midair. Pung! There was a shocking explosion. A shock wave that seemed capable of tearing apart the heavens and earth spread out. Everything within a radius of several miles was razed to the ground. Zhu Daoshan stood with his arms behind his back and frowned. This was really problematic. One move destroyed the equipment that the Alliance had set up. The people from the Alliance headquarters had been looking at the situation. When they saw Wu Zhiga attack, they cursed. What was this old fellow thinking? He said that he would bring him back alive. What was going on? He was so violent when he attacked. Who was he trying to scare to death? Shortly after, snowflakes appeared on the screen, and all the images disappeared. He's still so strong. Lin Fan appeared in the distance and wiped his lips. There was a trace of blood. Even after merging with Nine Demon and raising his strength to such a level, he was still injured. He really couldn't beat him. But it didn't matter. This was only the beginning. If the other party wanted to kill him, it would depend on whether the other party had the ability to do so. Lin Fan wiped off the blood and laughed. Is that all you've got? What the hell is this? Or is it because you were beaten up when you turned into a child last time? It's just words. Wu Zhiga didn't think much of Lin Fan. However, he was indeed a little angry, mainly because Lin Fan's words were too infuriating. As one of the strongest 9-star generals in the Alliance, Wu Zhiga had never dared to speak to him like that. Of course, he didn't care about what the Alliance citizens said about him at all. They were just a bunch of ants chattering, and it didn't matter at all. Brother Wu, pay attention. The headquarters needs living people, and not dead people. Zhu Daoshan was afraid that Lin Fan would anger Wu Zhiga, so he reminded him. He knew Wu Zhiga's character. He was the violent type. If Lin Fan really angered him, and he used his true strength, then the kid's chance of survival would be close to zero. Wu Zhiga said, I know, I don't need you to remind me. This kid is so arrogant, so we have to teach him a lesson. Zhu Daoshan was thinking that it was best if he attacked. Otherwise, he was talking about 1E. If something really happened, then that would be a huge problem. But looking at Wu Zhiga's situation, it was obvious that he wanted to play with Lin Fan. It wasn't good for him to attack now. In the blink of an eye, Wu Zhiga obviously wouldn't give Lin Fan a chance. He disappeared from the spot and there was a rustling sound in the air like something was passing through it. Lin Fan locked onto his tracks and hollered. 9 Demons' 9 heads gave off an eye-catching glow. Insect Valley's secret technique. You have cultivated it well, but you are too weak. Wu Zhiga stepped in the air. His fingers were like sharp swords that sliced apart the light. He instantly appeared in front of Lin Fan and pointed forward. Under Lin Fan's shocked gaze, a bloody hole appeared on his chest. Shortly after, a shockwave spread out. Lin Fan felt that his bug body was affected like it was about to split apart. But it just seemed like it and there was nothing wrong with it. Wu Zhiga raised his hand and looked at the flesh and blood on his finger. He smiled. Kid, you are lucky. The headquarters wanted you alive, so I showed you mercy. Otherwise, your heart would have been pierced. Lin Fan sucked in a deep cold breath. It was painful, it really was painful. He used the blood demon reversal art and quickly healed the wounds on his body. It was time to run. The moment he attacked, he knew that there was a huge gap between him and the strongest 9-star generals. Moreover, there were 2 of them this time. If the 2 of them attacked together, then he wouldn't be able to do anything. Amazing, as expected from the Alliance's strongest 9-star generals. But you are much weaker than my father, Lin Fan said. Wu Zhiga stared at Lin Fan in rage. Kid, stop talking about your father. Do you know where he is? Or are you saying that your father will come to save you? Stop dreaming. But don't worry, once I capture you, your father will definitely come back to see you. The moment he said this, a resplendent light burst out from the other party's body. Wu Zhiga's gaze was sharp and his aura was extraordinary. He gave one a feeling like he was the strongest person in the world. Lin Fan didn't want to talk nonsense with him. He stepped forwards and disappeared from the spot. He pulled apart the distance between him and Wu Zhiga. Without even thinking, he ripped open the dimension and fled in. You want to run? Wu Zhiga hollered in rage. He slapped and a light covered the area. With a loud explosion, the dimension collapsed and he tried to grab Lin Fan out. Brother Zhu, just in case, it is time to attack, he reminded. Naturally, Zhu Daoshan knew that Wu Zhiga didn't want any problems to occur. It was basically impossible for someone at Dao Realm Stage 2 to escape from their hand. But if something happened, just the two of them would be cursed to death. Two of the strongest 9-star generals actually couldn't capture a Dao Realm Stage 2 ant. Why didn't the two of them just die? Even if they were the strongest 9-star generals in the Alliance, they would be punished. After thinking about this, Zhu Daoshan didn't show any mercy. His granddaughter treated him as a hero, so if he couldn't even do such a small thing, then wouldn't he disappoint her? At that moment, Zhu Daoshan slashed open the dimension and started to search for traces of Lin Fan. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. The dimension was a wonderful place. As long as one entered it, they would disappear without a trace in the blink of an eye. Not even a ghost could be seen. I found him. Zhu Daoshan was delighted. He found traces of Lin Fan. He opened his fingers and grabbed. The dimension was like a piece of paper that was crushed into a ball. Lin Fan, who fled into the dimension, sensed that the surrounding dimension was really unstable. He was shocked. He had underestimated these two 9-star generals. Their skills were extraordinary and couldn't be underestimated. However, it was simply a fool's dream to think that they could capture him so easily. Lin Fan waved his arm and sword intent roared forwards. At the same time, he used his fist technique to punch through the dimension. But the dimension shrapnel was just too sharp. Not only did it slice Zhu Daoshan's palm, but it also sliced Lin Fan's body. Fresh blood spurted and many wounds appeared on his body. If not for his dual cultivation, his body would have been smashed into pieces. The blood demon reversal technique seemed to be free as it healed his body continuously. Brother Wu, stop him and protect him, Zhu Daoshan hollered. This kid was just too crazy. He actually dared to cause destruction in the dimension. Wasn't he afraid of killing himself? Wu Zhiga frowned. This kid is asking to die, so there is nothing I can do. I will just try my best. To him, if the kid continued to fight back, then the situation wouldn't be easy to deal with. But he couldn't care so much about it now. If he was dead, then he had to see his corpse. Since he was asking to die, then who could he blame? Lin Fan ran out from the dimension and tore it open once more. At the same time, he scolded the two of them. You two old farts, just you wait. One day, I will teach you a lesson. There was nothing wrong with his current situation. The blood demon reversal technique was useful. Luckily, the small support system was strong enough to provide unlimited Dao essence to heal his injuries. If not, his injuries would have been enough and he might even have died in the dimension. Kid, don't think that you can run. Wu Zhiga hollered in rage. How could he let this kid run? If not, he would have lost all his face. Of course, he didn't think that Lin Fan could leave. Zhu Daoshan and him locked onto Lin Fan. Even if they chased him to the ends of the world, they would capture this kid. With their current cultivations, every single move they made was filled with great might. Even a simple lift of their hand could cause the heavens and earth to collapse and shatter. Zhu Daoshan frowned. He really wanted to say that this kid really knew how to run. Things had already reached such a stage, and he still wasn't willing to surrender. Did he really have to force them to go all out? Dangerous. Lin Fan thought about it. Things were a little different from what he had expected. But he believed that he could definitely run. But he might have to pay a price. To experts like Zhu Daoshan, the dimension was just something they could play around with. They grabbed and sliced it open. There were no secrets at all. Pucci. Wu Zhiga was serious and collapsed the dimension. He said that he would capture him alive, but looking at him now, it was obvious that he wasn't prepared to capture him alive. It was like life and death was up to the heavens. It didn't matter whether or not he died. Chapter 437. The two strongest 9-star generals were really strong. Lin Fan felt like meeting the two of them was a form of training. Although they were strong, if he wanted to run, they might not be able to stop him. Instantly, all Lin Fan could feel was a horrifying aura shrouding over him. Pucci. A mouthful of fresh blood spat out from his throat. But it wasn't a big deal. It was normal to bleed in battle, and he didn't need to worry too much about it. Kid, you better scram out of the dimension, otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. Who didn't know how to say such vicious words? Zhu Daoshan didn't want anything to happen to Lin Fan. The Alliance headquarters wanted him alive. If the two of them headed out and Lin Fan died in the end, then it would be tough for them to explain themselves. Lin Fan didn't worry about them and continued to run. The dimension wasn't safe and there were dangers all around. Stop talking nonsense. If you have the ability, then stop me. If you can't, then goodbye. Lin Fan said. The dimension of this world was destroyed by the two of them. It was really intense. It was like a maze. Luckily, Lin Fan had the small support system and the blood demon reversal technique, otherwise it would be tough to say. Last time, he was confident that even if Zhu Daoshan and the others tried to stop him, he would definitely be able to run. Now, it seemed like he was too young and was taught a lesson. He even exaggerated that at least 4 of the strongest 9-star generals would be able to stop him. Now, even 2 of them nearly stopped him. Moreover, the exact situation was still unknown. He was just bragging too much. But all of that wasn't important anymore. Anyways, he had to run first. Suddenly, he realized that the situation was a little off. Outside the dimension, there was an earth-shattering power that seemed to be able to split the heavens and the earth apart. What are you doing? Zhu Daoshan saw that Wu Zhiga's situation was a little off. He was shocked. You want to kill him? Wu Zhiga said. I can only kill him. This kid is a little weird. He entered the dimension and suffered so many attacks but is actually perfectly fine. If this continues, he will definitely run. If we kill this brat and bring his corpse back, we can still explain ourselves. But if we let this brat escape, who will give us face? He didn't want to bear the pressure and gossip from the Alliance headquarters and the people. He was the strongest 9-star general in the Alliance, so how could he face such a situation? Don't be rash. He might not be able to escape. Zhu Daoshan stopped him. Damn, if he knew that this would happen, he wouldn't have brought Wu Zhiga over. Indeed, this kid could really run, and he was also very strange. He had destroyed the dimension many times, and not just anyone could withstand the dimensional reversal. Logically speaking, this kid should have been unable to withstand it and come out of the dimension. But looking at the situation now, it was as if nothing had happened to him. Damn it. What was going on? Wu Zhiga's aura grew sharper and sharper. He was not prepared to stop at all. Enough, don't say so much. I've already made up my mind. Do you want him to run away and return empty-handed, or do you want to bring his corpse back? Zhu Daoshan raised his head and looked at Wu Zhiga. He wanted to say something, but when he saw his gaze, he was speechless. He wanted to say something but his throat felt like it was stuck, and he didn't know what to say. Wu Zhiga was right. If he had to choose, he would rather choose to bring Lin Fan's corpse back. Although he was confident in capturing Lin Fan back, that was just confidence. He wasn't 100% sure. But if he killed him right away, then things would be different. With Wu Zhiga's strength, he could definitely destroy this dimension and bury him in it. That was not a problem. Zhu Daoshan thought about it for a moment. Okay, then let's be safe. Killing him is indeed better than running away. The moment he said this, Wu Zhiga didn't wait and slapped down. The entire area shook. With Akacha shattered, it was totally shattered. The space was like a mirror, turning into many pieces. At the same time, numerous cracks appeared in the dimension. Shortly after, it seemed like it was being crushed and shattered. Are you serious? Lin Fan was shocked. Oh my god, didn't you say that you would capture me alive? Why did it change just like that? As one of the strongest 9-star generals, he had to keep his word, right? Lin Fan turned his head and saw the dimension tunnel collapsing. If this continued, he would be drowned by the dimension. But suddenly, he realized that the dimension tunnel had stopped collapsing. He took the chance to flee and didn't even think about stopping. Although he didn't know what was going on. But all of this wasn't important anymore. After experiencing being surrounded by two of the strongest marshals, he understood the difference between him and the other party. These two old men had balls. Just you wait and King die. Outside. What is going on? What is going on? Wu Zhiga hollered in rage. The dimension was about to collapse, but suddenly everything calmed down. The collapsing dimension actually stabilized, as if it had been stopped by someone. Come out. Zhu Daoshan sensed an aura spreading in the air. He slapped towards the empty space in the distance, and with a pring, the space cracked. A person appeared in front of the two of them. When Wu Zhiga saw who it was, his face was dark and sunken. Monster Emperor, you are asking to die. Zhu Daoshan didn't expect that Monster Emperor would actually attack. Monster Emperor had disappeared for a long time and didn't work with the Alliance headquarters. No one knew where he went, and it was as if he had disappeared. Monster Emperor, the Alliance headquarters worked with you in the past. Even if we didn't, there is no need for you to help others go against us, right? Zhu Daoshan said. To Zhu Daoshan, Monster Emperor gave him a really weird feeling. It was like he was facing someone more dangerous than Lin Wani. He felt like Monster Emperor's evilness was the most terrifying thing in the world. That was because he felt like Monster Emperor wasn't a human. Now, Monster Emperor's situation was a little off and was different from before. Others can kill me but not him. Monster Emperor was still fat and there was no change from before. He was already so strong but he didn't lose weight. He didn't look like an expert at all. Wu Zhiga hollered in rage, Monster Emperor, who do you think you are? Since when did the Alliance need you to stop us? If you don't give me an explanation, I will make you bleed. Zhu Daoshan's expression was really ugly, but he stopped Wu Zhiga and said, Monster Emperor, he is Lin Wani's son and Lin Wani wants to kill you. I don't understand why you are helping his son. If you have a plan, you can tell me. The Alliance headquarters is willing to have a good talk with you. Monster Emperor said, there is nothing to talk about. I don't care if you kill others but you can't touch him. He is your friend? Zhu Daoshan asked. Yes. Monster Emperor replied. When Zhu Daoshan heard this, he laughed out loud. Monster Emperor, you can't lie like that. He is Lin Wani's son and you are working with us to wipe out Laoshan City. You say that he is your friend, but do you really think that we are fools? Monster Emperor said calmly. He is my friend but I am not his friend. Is there a problem? Zhu Daoshan and Wu Zhiga looked at one another. They nodded. Attack. They were the strongest 9-star generals in the Alliance, and they said all this to Monster Emperor because he had worked with the Alliance headquarters before. Monster Emperor had stopped them time and time again, and that was something that they couldn't forgive. Especially today's incident. That was even more unforgivable. Since that was the case, then they could only attack to take down Monster Emperor and drag him back to the Alliance headquarters. At that moment, two terrifying auras surged into the sky. Monster Emperor looked at the two of them, and a maniacal expression appeared on his face. Hong Long. A battle erupted. Although Monster Emperor was strong, facing two of the strongest 9-star generals, he was still a little overconfident. But Monster Emperor was just too weird. Maybe one couldn't even see him as a human. Who would be able to be so energetic after having a bloody hole in their body? Monster Emperor, I will give you one more chance. Speak, what is your relationship with that kid? Zhu Daoshan asked. Monster Emperor's body was bleeding and the smile on his face was a little vicious. Friend. Zhu Daoshan and Wu Zhiga didn't believe what Monster Emperor said. There had to be a reason. Since he wasn't being honest, then they would beat him up until he was. But they were wary of Monster Emperor, who knew what would happen to him. What they didn't notice was that the blood that dripped from Monster Emperor's body was absorbed by the soil like there was a terrifying living being in the soil. What happened at that time? Could it be that they found their conscience? Lin Fan used the dimension to come to an unknown place. Anyway, the only thing in his mind was to run. Nothing else was important. It was just too terrifying. Wu Zhiga and Zhu Daoshan were just too strong. He understood the pressure his father felt when facing so many 9-star generals. It wasn't something a normal person could handle. Lin Fan swore to the heavens that if he faced these two bastards again, before he was strong enough, he wouldn't talk nonsense with them and would run right away. It was just so simple. But what happened just now was a little weird. He didn't believe that the two strongest 9-star generals would fail. Something must have happened. Did someone come to save him? That shouldn't be possible. If it was his father, then he wouldn't have had such problems from the start. He didn't understand. Forget it, it was best if he didn't think about it. As for where he was now, he was really lost. He ran too quickly and didn't choose a fixed direction. He was afraid that the Alliance 9-star generals would follow and they would notice some secrets. He looked at his surroundings. He didn't notice anything wrong. Anyway, there was no one around. He didn't even see a single person. He had to understand the situation first. He didn't want to come to the territory of a top sect. Chapter 438. Alliance Headquarters, Meeting Room. There were many meetings today. The Alliance occupied the rich land and was expanding every day. The cooperation with the Imperial Dynasty was being implemented and the effects were decent. Although it caused some commotion, under the suppression of the Alliance and the Imperial Dynasty, all of them were just small fries. The two of them have been out for a period of time, so they should be back by now. Right, do you think they brought the kid back? I really want to study his body. I won't let go of a single part of his body. The person who said this was a top researcher in the Alliance and one of the few remaining mad scientists in the Alliance headquarters. Most of the 9-star generals here had consumed the medicine that he developed to stimulate the potential in their bodies and reach their current realm. This was why they didn't care much about it. It was just a bad taste, but it was still quite disgusting. But Wu Zhiga and Zhu Daoshan still hadn't returned, which confused some people. Two of the strongest 9-star generals went to capture a Dao Realm Stage 2 kid. If they can't even capture him, then they can just go eat sh*t. His words were a little vulgar, but they did make sense. That was indeed the case. Not long later, someone shouted, "They are back, they are back." At the entrance of the conference room, two silhouettes appeared. Standing there, the sunlight cast long shadows. No one could see their faces, so no one noticed their expressions. It was as if their parents had died. It was very ugly, extremely ugly. The commander said, "Did they bring him back?" Everyone was filled with anticipation. They also wanted to see how amazing Lin Wanni's son was. He actually reached Dao Realm Stage 2 at such a young age. Even pills couldn't be so strong, right? Wu Zhiga and Zhu Daoshan looked at one another. Their eyes seemed to be able to release electricity, and they communicated with one another. They had spoken to each other on the way back. Those people from the Alliance really guessed correctly. Even they didn't expect that they would fail. Wu Zhiga kept silent for a moment, and under the commander's urging, he said, "We didn't find the kid." When he said this, the entire place was silent. There was no movement at all. It was as if everyone was stunned. The commander looked at the two of them with a deep gaze. His face trembled slightly. After holding it in for a long while, he couldn't take it anymore and hollered, "Do you think we are blind? Wu Zhiga, you were the one who attacked at the last moment. Did you fail to capture him?" Wu Zhiga's expression was a little strange. "How embarrassing!" A 9-star general in the meeting room exclaimed, "That can't be. The two of you are the strongest 9-star generals in the Alliance, and you can't even capture a kid. That is just too embarrassing. If the outside world finds out, they will say that our strongest 9-star generals are useless." Wu Zhiga looked at the other party, wanting to beat him up. "Damn. Do you think we don't want to capture him? But something happened on the way. What could we do?" It was easy to talk while sitting down. What a bunch of dogs. Of course they could understand. Even they themselves wanted to die. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have volunteered even if he was beaten to death. Other people would fear their strength and status, but the commander didn't give them any face at all. "What did the two of you say? Especially you, Wu Zhiga. You said that you alone were enough. Let's see how much of a joke you are." The commander pointed at the two of them and scolded them in rage. Zhu Daoshan had never experienced such a tragedy. Since he became one of the strongest 9-star generals, apart from the Lin Wanni matter, everything else had been smooth and he had never faced any problems. Truthfully, he felt that the two of them were a little disappointing. Their target was just a Dao Realm Stage 2 kid. Unfortunately, even that failed. Wu Zhiga looked at everyone's expressions and saw that they were gloating over his misfortune. He shouted in his heart, "I will remember your ugly faces. In the future, when you fail, I will return it to you 101,000 times over." "Commander, the matter was originally completed, but something unexpected happened. Monster Emperor appeared to stop us and that kid ran." Wu Zhiga couldn't act anymore and couldn't hide anything. He could only tell the truth. "Monster Emperor?" The commander muttered and then raged. "So what if it is Monster Emperor? The two of you are the strongest in the Alliance headquarters. Can't the two of you even deal with one Monster Emperor? Don't tell me that you didn't capture the kid, and even Monster Emperor retreated safely." Wu Zhiga's head hurt and he nodded. If someone else spoke to them with such a questioning and mocking tone, they would have turned on him long ago. But they had no choice. That was the commander and his status was higher than theirs, so they didn't dare to fight back. The commander calmed down after his rage reached its peak. He slowly opened his mouth. "If I were you, I would find a hole to hide in and not see anyone for the rest of my life." Wu Zhiga and Zhu Daoshan looked at one another. Was there a need to do that? Wasn't it just one failure? Who hadn't failed before? It really made one speechless. But they knew that they had lost all their face this time. They would definitely be laughed at by others. Go back and think about why you failed. Also, this is your responsibility. Think of a way to make up for it. The commander waved his hands and didn't want to say anything more. The commander wanted to ask. Things had already reached such a stage, so what else could he say? But he was confused about something. Two of the strongest 9-star generals were actually blocked by Monster Emperor. That was just unbelievable. He knew that although Monster Emperor was strong, he didn't expect him to be able to fight against two of the strongest 9-star generals. What happened? What kind of fortuitous encounter did Monster Emperor have to actually raise his strength to such a level? He also had to be careful of this kid. If he escaped once, it would be extremely difficult to catch him next time. Wu Zhiga and Zhu Daoxun left the meeting room. The two of them walked outside and looked at one another. Did you see their faces? Remember, we will take revenge in the future. Wu Zhiga said. Zhu Daoxun sighed. I really didn't expect this to happen. Why did Monster Emperor help that kid? Logically speaking, the two of them should be enemies. I really don't understand. He really didn't understand. But all of that didn't matter anymore. Not only did they not understand, but if Lin Fan knew that Monster Emperor helped him several times, he would be stunned. Damn, did Monster Emperor like him? Not only did the Alliance have a part in the Laoshan City blood debt, but so did Monster Emperor. Lin Fan came to a foreign place and didn't head out right away. Instead, he sensed his own strength. He had reached 81 Dao patterns. Normal Dao Realm Stage 5 experts couldn't compare to him. After stepping into Dao Realm, Dao Body and Dao Essence didn't need rage points anymore. Everything was based on Dao patterns. He was just a little away from Dao Realm Stage 3. When he stepped into Dao Realm Stage 3, he thought that he could definitely fight against Dao Realm Stage 6 experts. He worked hard to improve. If he increased his Dao patterns to 100, even Dao Realm Stage 6 experts would be suppressed. But each stage of Dao Realm would have shocking changes. Dao Realm Stage 5 Saint Kings would appear, Stage 6 would be the Undying Body, and Stage 7 would be Dao Unification. Actually, what Lin Fan didn't know was that the Dao patterns he had were really terrifying and his foundations were terrifyingly strong. If not for the small support system, he definitely wouldn't have been able to reach such a situation. He had already broken through the limits of cultivation, and this limit was slowly opened up from the moment he had the small support system. The Alliance's surveillance range is a little wide. I can't be so careless next time. Lin Fan muttered. He looked at the sleeping Nine Demon and felt a little helpless. Nine Demon was a little arrogant. Such a thing had happened and he actually wasn't worried at all. That was just terrifying. To Lin Fan, since he had suffered once, he wouldn't suffer a second time. In the past, he was too confident in himself. When Wu Zhiga and Zhu Daoxun arrived, he didn't flee right away. Instead, he chatted with them and then attacked. If he fled right away, it would have been impossible for the two of them to stop him. Suddenly, wind rustled in the distance. Senior brother, there is someone here. In the distance, a guy saw Lin Fan and shouted at the top of his lungs. His voice was really sharp like a duck's voice. Lin Fan frowned and looked over. He was just passing by and didn't do anything. Moreover, wasn't it normal for there to be people in the wilderness? Very quickly, from afar, a group of people walked over and surrounded Lin Fan. These people were all dressed the same and looking at their aura, they came from sections. It seemed like it was as he had expected. He was in sect territory. Who are you? The leader asked. Lin Fan smelled an evil aura from his body. The scent was really familiar, like he had smelled it before. I am just passing by. Lin Fan replied. The leader said coldly. What a joke, you actually said that you were just passing by. Do you know where this is? This is Evil Alliance territory, and you aren't wearing sect clothes. Look at how sneaky you are. Tell me honestly, did Buddha Alliance send you? It seemed like he was involved in some sort of conflict. He knew about the 4 alliances and this place belonged to Evil Alliance. Since he asked him whether or not he was from Buddha Alliance, didn't that mean that Evil Alliance and Buddha Alliance had conflicts? Senior brother, why are you talking so much to him? Why don't you let junior brother deal with him? I look at his tender skin and feel really good about it. The guy who spoke was a little ugly, but he wasn't scary. It was just that there were many holes on his face. Junior brother, you here? As the senior brother, the leader pointed over with a weird expression on his face. After all, he wasn't a fan. Here. In front of everyone, let's see how junior brother breaks through his psychological defenses. I guarantee that he will tell you everything and not dare to hide anything. Junior brother, you patted his chest and promised. The people around had weird expressions on their faces. They were indeed from Evil Alliance, but they didn't cultivate their techniques as it was just too disgusting. To be able to make people from Evil Alliance say that it was disgusting. Tell me how disgusting this is. Lin Fan was stunned. This thing wanted to do him. Chapter 439. The disciples around all looked at him like they were spectators. Disciple you wanted to personally attack. They knew that it was disgusting, but they were still looking forward to it. After all, it was rare to see such an exciting scene. Hee, soft skin and tender meat, not bad. Junior brother you was so excited that his eyes were glowing red. Just thinking about what was about to happen made his blood boil. What monster is that? Why does it have 9 heads? Someone noticed 9 demon beside Lin Fan. It was too weird and they had never seen such a monster. It should be a mutated beast. The leader said. At a time when no one understood, he had to use his knowledge as a senior brother. The surrounding disciples all cried out in surprise and flattered him. Senior brother was really too smart, he actually knew everything. Junior brother you grabbed Lin Fan's wrist. He really wanted to pull Lin Fan into his embrace and hook his chin with his fingers. He wanted to tell Lin Fan to enjoy it later. Who could accept such words? But what a waste. He used a lot of strength, but he couldn't move him. Damn, how could he not move him? Junior brother you didn't believe it and tried his best to pull him. He really didn't believe that he couldn't move him. Unfortunately, that was the truth. He really couldn't. Okay, stop pulling and pulling. If you have something to say, then say it. I am just passing by. You are from Evil Alliance, so what is your relationship with Xiedao sect? Lin Fan asked. He was lazy to talk nonsense with them, and there was no need to waste time. Xiedao sect? When Lin Fan said those words, everyone was shocked. The leader hollered, You still dare to say that you didn't come from Buddha Alliance? Lin Fan was confused. I was just talking about Xiedao sect, so how did they come into contact with Buddha Alliance? Kiki, there is no point in talking so much. Junior brother you, drag him into the forest and let us hear his screams. The leader said. To him, Lin Fan was a cunning person and if he didn't suffer, he wouldn't be well behaved. Junior brother you's actions were disgusting, but he had no choice. Junior brother you didn't move at all and felt a little awkward. Senior brother was saying what he was thinking, but he tried it and it was useless. He couldn't move him at all. As for using it here, even if he was thick-skinned, he wasn't that thick-skinned. Junior brother you, what's wrong? The leader asked. He thought that his junior brother was preparing something, but it had been so long, and there was no reaction at all. Something was wrong. Junior brother you was really awkward and he nearly cried. Senior brother, I can't move him. Suddenly, junior brother you noticed that the way Lin Fan looked at him was a little off. He seemed to be revealing a shocking smile. What the hell is with that smile? How is that possible? The leader frowned and thought that junior brother you was bragging. He actually said that he couldn't move it. Truthfully, he wouldn't believe a single word he said. Senior brother, I am telling the truth. If you don't believe me, look. Junior brother you pulled Lin Fan. But this time, he pulled Lin Fan away. Holy shit. Junior brother you was stunned. What was going on? He really couldn't pull it just now. Junior brother, if you don't want to say it, then say it. There is no need to lie. Junior brother you wanted to cry but no tears came out. It was true. He really couldn't pull him before, but he really didn't expect that he would be able to now. Especially when he saw the other party looking at him with a meaningful smile. He felt a little panicked in the depths of his heart. He felt like something was about to happen. But there were so many senior brothers around. If he didn't bring him in, he would lose face. Moreover, he wanted to perform well in front of everyone and let them know how strong he was. Senior brother, I didn't pay attention. Junior brother, you said. Lin Fan got up and acted like he was being pulled by him. He walked into the distance. Junior brother, you didn't want to move, but a force pushed him into the distance. At that moment there was gossip all around. What do you think is going to happen? It is hard to say, but I think that it will be a happy thing for Junior brother you. This is what happens when this kid doesn't speak the truth. Lin Fan got close to Junior brother you and said softly, let's go there. It is better there and hidden. Junior brother you's body shook and he looked at Lin Fan with a weird expression. He felt like something wasn't right but he didn't know what to say. The leader looked at the man who was brought into the forest by Junior brother you and smiled. Naturally, he knew that Junior brother you's methods were disgusting. Moreover, he believed that Junior brother you would definitely make him speak the truth. It was impossible for him to hide anything from them. In the distance, in a hidden forest, Junior brother you panicked because of Lin Fan, but when he saw Lin Fan's body, he gulped and was a little rash. He gave a perverted smile and got close. Baby, don't be afraid and don't be nervous. I will be really gentle. At that moment, Lin Fan turned around and his gaze became really sharp. There weren't any shocking phenomenons, but to Junior brother you, it was like his heart was being grabbed by a hand. If he dared to resist, his heart would instantly shatter. You? Who are you? Junior brother you asked in shock. Only now did he realize that Lin Fan wasn't a normal person. Lin Fan smiled and walked in front of him. He patted him on the shoulder and said, don't shout. Who I am isn't important. What's important is that I have something to ask you. If you don't want to die, then answer my questions properly. Also, act like a hero. Answer my questions while shouting for me. Junior brother you looked at him with his mouth agape. He was totally stunned. To him, things shouldn't have developed like this. Clearly, he was the one who had ruthlessly ravaged the other party, and then felt great. But now, he only felt that he was being pressured to the point where he could barely breathe. He didn't even have a chance to fight back. Outside. What is going on? Why isn't there any movement at all? I don't know, why don't we sneak a look? Don't go, Junior brother you is cultivating. It wouldn't be good if we sneak a look. Just as they were discussing this, there were shouts in the distance. As it was slightly far. They couldn't tell whose voice it was, but it sounded a little tragic and violent at the same time. Amazing! Junior brother you is truly amazing. Just hearing that voice alone is enough to send chills down one's spine. Who knows how badly Junior brother you will hurt him? I don't even dare to think about it. They naively thought that Junior brother you was strong and invincible, but they didn't know that Junior brother you was in a tragic state. Not only was he being threatened, but he was also being forced to shout. A long while later, two people walked over from the distance. They are out, they are out. Everyone looked over and thought that the kid would come out. But looking at the situation, it didn't seem like it. Was it because Junior brother you was weak and it ended so quickly? But it didn't sound like it. After all, it was so tragic. Lin Fan knew where they came from. A normal sect in the Evil Alliance had a low position and wasn't considered much in the Evil Alliance. Hence, many of their sect members found something to do in the Evil Alliance. For example, patrolling was one of the most common jobs in Evil Alliance. Moreover, he knew that Evil Alliance was made up of close to 3,000 sections. There were 10 top sects at the helm. There were many mid-tier sects, and the rest were small sects that were cannon fodder. The leader said, Junior brother you, did you get anything? I asked him, and he is indeed not from Buddha Alliance. Buddha Alliance destroyed his small sect, and he was the only one who escaped. Junior brother you said. He wanted to cry too. But there was nothing he could do about it. He had already deeply understood how powerful his opponent was. If he didn't do as he said, he wouldn't even know how he died. What was the name of the sect that Buddha Alliance wiped out? The leader asked. Junior brother, you said, senior brother. His sect isn't in our territory. He was just unlucky. When the 4 alliances were formed, his sect had conflicts with another sect. That sect joined Buddha Alliance and said that there was something wrong with his sect. They wiped him out right away. So tragic. The leader was shocked, like he didn't expect such a thing to happen. Junior brother, you nodded. It was just that tragic. The leader looked at Lin Fan and then at Nine Demon. He patted Lin Fan's shoulder and said, Brother, don't say that we don't take care of you. Your sect was wiped out by Buddha Alliance and I sympathize with you. How about this? Follow me and I will bring you to our sect. As long as you cultivate, we will have a good life. That is settled. Oh right, I am Bai Zhanfeng. What was your position in the sect before? Lin Fan smiled, Elder. Bai Zhanfeng was stunned. You became an elder at such a young age. Okay, I won't ask you to call me senior brother. Just call me Brother Bai. What do you think? Okay. Lin Fan smiled. He just wanted to get more rage points. As for these people, their cultivations were a little low and there weren't many of them. They couldn't provide much rage points. But if he entered their ranks, it would be much better. Bai Zhanfeng said, You have said so much but I still don't know your name. Lin Fan said, Lin Fan. This name sounds familiar. Bai Zhanfeng was confused, like he had heard it somewhere before. Brother Bai, my name is too common. You can see it everywhere. Maybe you've heard it somewhere before. Lin Fan said. He wasn't used to changing his name. So what if he was found out? Of course, as long as he was careful, it wouldn't be a problem. Bai Zhanfeng nodded his head. That made sense. Maybe he really heard it somewhere else. He didn't think so much about it. However, he wanted to know what had happened in the forest just now. He would believe that it didn't happen, but the key was where that voice came from. Just at that moment, someone scolded in rage. Bai Zhanfeng, why aren't you patrolling? Are you slacking or what are you doing? Chapter 440. Lin Fan raised his head and noticed a pair of people heading over from the distance. The one who spoke was the guy in the lead. He looked devilish and his eyebrows were purple. He looked like the villains in movies. Bai Zhanfeng looked at them and frowned. Lei Yun, we are just stopping here for a moment. Can't we do that? Yes, but don't be lazy. If I notice you, you won't even have the right to patrol. Lei Yun smiled in disdain. His gaze was like he didn't care about them at all. Lin Fan curled his finger at Junior Brother Yu. What is his background? Junior Brother Yu said softly. He is a disciple of Thunderflame sect and a direct descendant. He is a really strong person. Don't look at him, but he is actually at Master Realm. I really envy people like him. His sect is like his own home. Who knows how many treasures he used. Even though Junior Brother Yu was afraid of Lin Fan, the way he looked at Lei Yun at this moment was filled with a deep sense of envy. Don't worry, I won't say anything. Anyway, you aren't the only one with secret. But I advise you to be careful and avoid these people. You can't afford to offend them. Lin Fan looked at him and realized that this fellow was a smart person. At that moment, the situation changed slightly. Lei Yun probably said something that caused the people behind him to mock him. As for Bai Zhanfeng, his face was dark and sunken, but he didn't dare to say anything. His strength was there. He had no choice. If there was a conflict with his strength, he would be in a bad state. He might even be beaten to death. Since things have reached such a stage, then why don't we beat them up? Lin Fan said. They really could take it. If it was him, he would have attacked long ago and wouldn't have given them a chance to talk nonsense. But he understood what the life of a young person was like. Just look at the scenes in front of him. With all of them added up, one sneeze from him would be able to kill all of them. He wasn't bragging but was speaking the truth. Junior Brother Yu said, Big brother, aren't you joking? You must know that his strength is peak master and he is half a step into grandmaster realm. Even if all of us add up, we won't be able to deal with him. Sigh, if you're weak, you have to admit it. It's normal for you to suffer a little. It was obvious that he had been subdued by the other party's might and didn't dare to act impudently. Lin Fan and junior brother, you were chatting nicely, but who knew that trouble would fall from the sky? Isn't this the disciple from your sect who loves to *ck men the most? I heard that your surname is you. What a disgusting person. Even from so far away I can smell the stench coming from your body. But that's to be expected. That's just how disgusting you look. Lei Yun pointed at junior brother Yu. Ah. The people behind him burst into laughter. Evil Alliance was a huge team, but there were still conflicts between sections. People like Bai Zhanfeng, who came from a normal sect, could only accept being mocked. Who asked them to be weak? Junior brother Yu was a little awkward and stunned. Big brother, I didn't even do anything, I just stood here and watched. Why did you talk about me? Bai Zhanfeng frowned. Lei Yun, your words are a little too much. We didn't offend you. He clenched his fists and the green veins on his neck were really obvious like many earthworms. If he wasn't weaker than him, he would have taught him a lesson. Ha ha! Lei Yun laughed and waved his hands. I am just joking. Can't all of you take a joke? Suddenly, it was like Lei Yun had discovered a new continent. He pointed at Lin Fan and then moved his finger to Lin Fan's shoulder. This bug is not bad. Kid, is it yours? Lin Fan felt that he was really arrogant. If he had the small support system, he would have gained a ton of rage points. Maybe his actions were not bad. Lin Fan was deep in thought. He was a very low-profile person and had never been arrogant. But when he saw the other party's words and actions, he suddenly felt that it would be better if he was a little more arrogant. The atmosphere was a little suppressed. Lin Fan didn't bother about Lei Yun's question. To others, he was obviously not giving him face. Lei Yun's face was dark and sunken and he scoffed in rage. For someone at Master Realm to scoff, it was really shocking to the weak. It was like their eardrums were about to explode from his voice. But to Lin Fan, it was useless. It was like a mosquito was buzzing in his ears. Junior brother Yu was so anxious that he kept touching Lin Fan. Big brother, he was talking to you. Even if you didn't want to bother about him, you didn't have to do that. Lin Fan came back to his senses and looked at Lei Yun. Are you talking to me? Lei Yun raged. Are you deaf? If I am not talking to you, then who am I talking to? Do you not respect me at all? Why is this fellow who likes men and wants to protect you? Do you have something going on with him? Bai Zhanfeng shook his head towards Lin Fan to tell him not to be too emotional. Just bear with it and let him vent and things would end. To Lin Fan, he didn't expect people to be so arrogant. He was just at Master Realm and he dared to be so arrogant. If he really became a Dao Realm expert, then wouldn't he be able to ascend to the heavens? Maybe he didn't even need Dao Realm, just God Essence Realm would be enough. If I tell you to mess with him, do you dare to do so? Lin Fan looked at junior brother Yu and asked. Junior brother Yu was stunned like he didn't understand. What? He really didn't understand. What do you mean by that? Big brother, what do you mean by that? I'm so scared. Can't you say something that I can understand? Instantly, everyone was stunned. If junior brother Yu was acting dumb and acting like he didn't know, then how could they not know what he meant? How could they not know what kind of person junior brother Yu was? How bold. He was just too bold. Wasn't he afraid of dying? Lin Fan said solemnly, I am saying that I will take him down and let you mess with him. Do you dare to do so? Junior brother Yu blinked his eyes at Lin Fan. Big brother, stop playing around. I am just a normal little brother and my cultivation isn't even at Master Realm. I am only at Martial Path Grade 5. Now that you want me to mess with someone at Master Realm, you are asking for my life. Lei Yun's expression was really ugly and he said coldly, "Kid, you are asking to die. By Zhan Feng, you are one of your people. It seems like you want to declare war on me. Forget it, I will teach all of you a lesson and let you know what an expert is." Bai Zhanfeng's face turned white from shock. Damn. He didn't dare to believe that the person he just met would be so bold. Although he wanted Lei Yun to pay a heavy price, his strength didn't allow him to. If he could, he would have attacked long ago. "Brother Lin, this is Thunderflame Sex Lei Yun. How can you offend him? Quickly apologize." Bai Zhanfeng blinked at Lin Fan and hoped that he could understand the situation. This wasn't something that he could do whatever he wanted. "Scoff, now you are thinking about apologizing. Let me tell you, it is too late. Not only is he unlucky, but you will also pay a price. Even if I kill all of you, your stupid sect won't dare to say a single word. Do you understand?" Lei Yun was arrogant and overbearing. He looked at Lin Fan and the others like he was looking at ants. "Haze!" Lin Fan sighed. "Even Master Realm people can be so arrogant now?" Silence. The area was totally silent. Everyone was stunned by Lin Fan's words. Shortly after, laughter rang out. "What? Is there something wrong with my ears? What did he say?" Lei Yun pointed at one of the junior brothers and asked. That junior brother nearly fainted from laughter and said, "Senior brother, he said that you are so arrogant at Master Realm. I am going to die from laughter." Lei Yun couldn't help but laugh. Gradually, his smile faded. "Brat, you're really arrogant to the point that you don't know the heavens and the earth. Very well, ignorance is also a kind of blessing, but this blessing of yours will soon become your nightmare." Lin Fan didn't expect that he would be mocked so much. He felt a little helpless. Maybe because he was too young, people thought that he was easy to bully. But the process was not bad. The rage points that should have come still came. But did he need so many rage points now? Of course not. What he wanted was to get into the enemy's camp and raise his cultivation to Dao Realm Stage 3. Junior brother Yu was stunned and the way he looked at Lin Fan changed. It was like he wanted to holler, "Big brother, are you really so overbearing?" Not only was he stunned, but even Bai Zhanfeng was stunned. Where did this person that he just met come from? He was just so fierce. He didn't hold anyone in any regard at all. Annoyed, Lin Fan walked forwards and looked at Lei Yun. He opened his fingers like he was grabbing at Lei Yun. "Interesting, what do you want to do?" Lei Yun laughed out loud. But suddenly, the situation wasn't right. He felt like he couldn't control his body, and at the same time, there was a terrifying suction force spreading towards him. Pung! In an instant, everyone opened their eyes wide like they had seen a ghost. Lin Fan grabbed Lei Yun and lifted him into the air. Beads of sweat rolled down Lei Yun's forehead. He felt like the situation wasn't right. Lin Fan turned his head. "Tell me the truth, do you want to attack or not?" Gulp. Junior brother Yu swallowed his saliva. He looked at Lei Yun and then at Lin Fan. It was obvious that he wanted to, but maybe because of Lin Fan's identity, he didn't dare to. But very quickly, he made his choice. Yes. Lei Yun was at Master Realm. Something really happened, then his cultivation would increase by a lot. Just thinking about it made him feel really good. Lei Yun struggled. His throat was being grabbed and he couldn't say a single word. "Pata." Lin Fan knocked Lei Yun out and tossed him towards junior brother Yu. "Deal with him yourself, kill him." Junior brother Yu headed forwards, grabbed Lei Yun's collar and ran towards the forest. Run. When the people who followed Lei Yun saw those scenes, they were terrified. How could they not understand what was going on? They just wanted to run. Kill them. Bai Zhanfeng attacked right away. He understood one thing, which was that if he let these people escape, the outcome would be catastrophic. This was why he had to kill all of them, to prevent future problems. Chapter 441. Damn, are all of you crazy? We are disciples of Thunderflame sect, and you actually dare to do that. Save me, they are killing us. I have tolerated all of you for a long time. Go and die. Screams spread out. Bai Zhanfeng raised his blade and slashed, killing one kid with each slash. At such a situation, there was no need to think too much. Even if he let them go, the Thunderflame sect disciples wouldn't let them off. This was why they decided to go all out. Anyway, this was Evil Alliance and it was normal to die here. Who would be able to trace it back to them? In the forest behind. You will always be my big brother. Junior brother Yu was so touched that he was about to cry. He didn't dare to imagine that one day he would be able to attack Lei Yun. Looking at the unconscious Lei Yun, his heart skipped a beat. His face, which was full of bumps and hollows, blushed slightly. Oh no, is this the feeling of love? He heard the sounds of enemies being killed. Junior brother Yu sucked in a deep breath and started to attack. His senior brothers were killing the enemy, so he couldn't fall behind. He had to teach them a lesson and let them know how strong they were. Junior brother Yu squinted his eyes and a cunning smile appeared on his face. He then reached out with his evil hands. Lin Fan stood there and looked at the bunch of kids fighting. He felt a little bored. If I do it well, I will definitely be able to gain a lot of rage points. Lin Fan believed that he could do it. He could do whatever he wanted in Evil Alliance. As for Bai Zhanfeng and the others, they were still useful. The Alliance wanted him, and so did the top sections. But these were all top experts, and they definitely didn't inform the normal disciples. After all, everyone knew that normal disciples couldn't do anything to him. To be more direct, the weak didn't have the right to know who was on the wanted list. He would start from the weak sects and trample on the Evil Alliance kids. Even if he was noticed one day, it didn't matter as he had already obtained everything he wanted. And that was the way to go. Very quickly, the screams disappeared. Those disciples who lost Lei Yun's protection were all hacked to death. Bai Zhanfeng walked to Lin Fan's side. He felt huge pressure and didn't dare to speak. He felt that Lin Fan was just too terrifying, but he had no choice. He could only brace himself and say, "Brother Lin, I didn't expect you to be so amazing." Lin Fan said, "It is okay. No matter what, I was once an elder, so I do have this bit of strength." At this moment, Junior brother Yu walked out in satisfaction. He walked while pulling up his pants. His aura was totally different and he gave off a high-spirited feeling. His cultivation had also risen to Martial Path Grade 6, and he had broken away from the ranks of weaklings. However, he was still really weak. Lin Fan asked, "Didn't I tell you to get rid of him? Why did you bring it out?" Hearing Lin Fan's voice, Junior brother Yu shivered. He didn't dare to be arrogant anymore, but he still said timidly, "Big brother, I don't dare to kill him. No matter what, he's a disciple of the Thunderflame sect, and a direct descendant. If others find out, I won't be able to survive even if I have several lives." He was too timid. Lin Fan looked at everyone and said, "Since that's the case, I have an idea. Everyone here participated in this assassination, so naturally, we can't let him live. Let's all just kill him." "This is a good idea." Bai Zhanfeng was the first to agree. He looked at the junior brothers and said, "Everyone will participate in this. If anyone reveals what happened, then we will all die together." Bai Zhanfeng's words shocked everyone. But shortly after, they were filled with excitement and joy. Their relationship was great. If everyone participated, then there wouldn't be any betrayals. Shortly after, things became much simpler. A bunch of people surrounded Lei Yun. Lin Fan waved his hands. Maybe Lei Yun died the most miserably. Poochie. Poochie. Every time they slashed, a large amount of blood would appear. It was only when they were truly fighting that everyone felt that it was so satisfying. Thinking about how arrogant Lei Yun was, he cursed at them so badly that they didn't even dare to reply. But looking at the situation right now, it was truly satisfying. Their deaths were simply too tragic. Who asked you to jump? Do you know the consequences of offending us? Everyone looked at Lin Fan in a different light. Although they had only interacted for a short period of time, one had to say that his methods were really overbearing and made one respect him. Junior Brother Yu's gaze towards Lin Fan changed. They were from Evil Alliance, but for some reason, he felt that Lin Fan was even more vicious than them. He slashed just like that and didn't care about their status at all. That was just too terrifying. Some disciples felt that it wasn't enough after one slash, so they gathered their strength and slashed a few more times. It felt really good. In the end, Lei Yun couldn't be more dead. Not to mention how tragic his death was. Even if his parents came, they might not be able to recognize him. Bai Zhanfeng felt really good, and the frustration in his heart was finally released. At most, he only thought about it. If he really had to do something, he might not dare to. Bai Zhanfeng said, "Brother Lin, we can't stay here for long. Let's leave." "Okay." Lin Fan nodded his head. Perhaps it was because of this incident that he always felt that others seemed to have some respect and fear for him. It seemed like no matter where one was, being strong had its benefits. The next day, Lin Fan and the others were far away from the scene. To Lin Fan, everything was normal, but to Bai Zhanfeng and the others, they were still terrified. They thought back to what happened yesterday. If they hadn't personally killed Lei Yun, they would have thought that it was just a dream. Thunder Flame sect would definitely be furious when they found out that their direct disciple was killed. At that time, it would definitely cause a storm. Lin Fan didn't know what they were thinking. If he knew, he would be filled with disdain. A mid-tier sect wanted to cause a storm. It was hard to imagine how small of a storm it would be. Lin Fan's view of the world was different. The people he came into contact with were all top experts, and the powers he came into contact with could scare one to death. This was why his view of things was different now. To Bai Zhanfeng and the others, the rage of a mid-tier sect was a terrifying storm. But to Lin Fan, it was just a small fight and it wasn't worth mentioning at all. Now, Junior Brother Yu was really popular. He was the first person who dared to use his cultivation to fight someone at Master Realm. Everyone wanted to know what it felt like at that moment. Junior Brother Yu was flattered, and he just calmly waved his hands. He humbly said that it was nothing and that it was just a little tight. Although everyone was curious when they thought about those scenes, they wanted to vomit. They could understand using Yin to replenish Yang, but what did he mean by using Yang to replenish Yang? Who in the world created this lousy cultivation technique? They were really impressed and didn't know what to say. But everyone was really curious about Lin Fan's background. Bai Zhanfeng said, "Brother Lin, what should we do next?" Lin Fan looked at Bai Zhanfeng and smiled. "Nothing, just act like nothing happened. Do all of you want to become an expert who can control your own fate?" Everyone looked at Lin Fan and kept silent. Who didn't want to become an expert? But how was it so easy? "Big brother, I do." Junior Brother Yu said right away. He was really eager. After experiencing it once, he was totally addicted. There was a voice deep in his heart telling him that if he followed Lin Fan, there would be good days ahead. Bai Zhanfeng was someone with his own thoughts. He knew that there was no future in a normal sect. Even if he worked hard, it would be decent if he could reach Grandmaster Realm. As for God Essence Realm, he didn't even dare to think about it. Today, he felt that his chance was here. Although the chances were slim and it was dangerous, if he didn't try, he wouldn't be willing to accept it. "Brother Lin, what do you think we should do?" Bai Zhanfeng asked. He wanted to know how to do it. If it was possible, then he would go all out. Lin Fan smiled. "What is the fastest way to raise strength?" Bai Zhanfeng didn't even think. "Pills." Lin Fan was stunned. What was a pill? Truthfully, he hadn't swallowed a single pill since he started cultivating. The purple gold dragon essence pill he got last time was given to cousin. "We are from Evil Alliance." Are there no shortcuts to cultivation techniques? Lin Fan asked. Bai Zhanfeng said bitterly, I won't hide it from Brother Lin. We are just a normal sect and there are shortcuts, but I don't have the right. Junior Brother Yu's cultivation technique is a shortcut, but that method, I can't take it. Lin Fan glanced at Junior Brother Yu. It seemed like not every Evil Alliance disciple would become so desperate just to raise their strength. Okay, since that is the case, then let's go find pills. Bai Zhanfeng was stunned and didn't understand. Brother Lin, where are we going? Lin Fan smiled. How can there be a lack of places to find pills? Tell me, where do you think has the most pills? Think about it carefully. Voila. Bai Zhanfeng raised his head and was stunned. Damn. Why did he feel like something bad was about to happen? He panicked. But if they succeeded, the benefits would be huge. Lin Fan couldn't wait any longer. Bai Zhanfeng's sect was unassuming and Evil Alliance was a good place. Everyone was nervous and filled with anticipation. Lei Yun's death would cause an uproar, or maybe Thunderflame sect would notice, and they would search for him. But Lin Fan and the others were thinking too much. Lei Yun's disappearance didn't affect Thunderflame sect at all, and no one went to search for him. One had to say that the world was cold. Their sect disciple disappeared for so long, and they didn't even care. What else could they say? That day, at the foot of a mountain. Brother Lin, are you sure? Bai Zhanfeng's tone was really weird, like he was in a cold cellar. He really didn't expect things to turn out like that. He thought that Lin Fan was joking. But now, he finally knew that he wasn't joking and he was serious. Chapter 442. We are already here. Do you think I look like someone who is joking? Lin Fan said. He had thought about it long ago to attack the normal sects first. After all, the impact would be much smaller. There were simply way too many sects in the Evil Alliance. Even though they had already formed a huge faction, this was all just on the surface. Internally, they were just like a pile of loose sand. If they wanted to break them down, it would be easy. Not only was Bai Zhanfeng stunned, but so were the others. They really didn't expect that they would really come to their sect. A few of them took a few steps back, feeling a chill run down their spines. They wanted to run away from this place. But because Senior Brother Bai didn't leave, they decided to wait. Brother Lin, although this sect is a normal sect, based on what I know, they are really evil. They cultivate the blood path, and use the fresh blood of living beings to cultivate. They are one of the top sections. If we go up, we will just end up as food for them. Bai Zhanfeng said. He hoped that he could dispel Lin Fan's unrealistic thought. When he heard that, his thoughts of trampling on this sect deepened. Brother Bai, why worry about all this? Who knows who will end up as food? If we want to become strong, we have to have courage. If we don't even have the courage, then we will just be ants in the eyes of others. Lin Fan said. He tossed out baskets after baskets of theories. It depended on whether or not they were willing to take the bait. Bai Zhanfeng regretted it. He shouldn't have gone crazy with Lin Fan. But was it too late to turn back now? Right, there was still time to retreat. Lin Fan didn't know that they were here. As long as they retreated and didn't participate, then nothing would happen. But very quickly, his thoughts were destroyed. Lin Fan shouted out that he was here to challenge them. All of you, come out. Everyone was in a mess. Everyone was in a state of confusion. They felt that they had stepped onto a path of no return, and there was a high possibility that they would die here. Junior Brother Yu was pumped up and the blood in his body boiled. He trusted Lin Fan quite a bit. He felt like the peak of his life was about to arrive. Let's go. Lin Fan waved his hands. He was a little disappointed in these people. They were so cowardly and dared to call themselves Evil Alliance. What was there to be afraid of? Scarlet Blood Sect. This was a really strong sect among normal sections. As long as one Dao Realm expert reached Dao Realm, they would become a mid-tier sect. Lin Fan's voice at the foot of the mountain had completely alarmed the Scarlet Blood Sect. Challenge the dojo? The people from the Scarlet Blood sect were stunned. What was going on? Was there something wrong with their brains? Who was so daring to challenge them? Even if they wanted to die, they shouldn't be asking for it like this. Very soon. Bai Zhanfeng followed behind Lin Fan with a solemn expression. As for the others, their faces were all ashen white. When they walked, their legs trembled. Inside the sect, the Scarlet Blood sect master waved his hand and asked an elder to go take a look at what was happening. If it was some small fry, he would ask them about their origins and directly kill them. Anyone who dared to cause trouble in the Scarlet Blood sect had to die, especially at such a crucial moment. When Lin Fan and the others arrived at the top of the mountain, they realized that the disciples of Scarlet Blood sect were all gathered there and looking at them in bewilderment. Their hearts were filled with panic. Lin Fan walked with his arms behind his back and smiled calmly. Manager of Scarlet Blood sect, come out. A red-robed old man walked over. He was an elder of Scarlet Blood sect, and people called him Blood Sacrifice Old Demon. His cultivation technique was really evil, and he needed the fresh blood of living beings to cultivate. He was now a yin-yang realm expert. Who knew how many living beings he had killed to reach such a realm? I am an elder of Scarlet Blood sect. Who are all of you? Blood Sacrifice Old Demon asked coldly. He looked over and a terrifying aura covered the area. Apart from Lin Fan, who was fine, Bai Zhanfeng and the others felt their bodies turn cold. Even the blood on their bodies turned cold. How terrifying! Bai Zhanfeng's body trembled. His aura was just too strong and he couldn't face him at all. Maybe they were really going to die here. Even if they reported their sect's name, Red Blood sect wouldn't let them off. That was because Red Blood sect didn't care about their sect at all. Lin Fan said calmly, "Who I am isn't important. I heard that your Red Blood sect is not bad. Coincidentally, my brothers haven't been able to raise their cultivation and they lack some pills. So, I came here to get some from you. Is there a problem?" The moment he said this, the entire area was silent. Everyone was stunned. Blood Sacrifice Old Demon frowned and his expression froze like he didn't understand. Maybe he was stunned by Lin Fan's words. He had lived for so many years and had never met such a person. Rage points plus 999. Rage points plus 111. Rage points plus 66. The Red Blood sect disciples were furious. This person was here to cause trouble. He actually tried to extort their sect. It was obvious that he didn't care about Red Blood sect at all. Bai Zhanfeng was terrified. Brother Lin, calm down. Admit your mistakes and tell them that we went the wrong way, okay? He was really nervous. Why would you admit your mistakes? We didn't go the wrong way. Didn't you tell me that Red Blood sect was the only sect nearby? We said that we would attack this sect, so this is the sect. Lin Fan said. Bai Zhanfeng shut himself off and didn't know what to say. His brain worked quickly. What should he do to leave alive? Damn, he regretted it. He was sick in the head to actually follow him here. Seeing that Blood Sacrifice Old Demon didn't speak, Lin Fan frowned. Why? Do I have no face? I asked for some pills and all of you aren't willing to give them to me? Do you really want to force me to use violence? Damn. At this moment, he wasn't shutting himself off, but he was in a mess. Bai Zhanfeng wanted to kneel on the ground and kowtow to all the elders. They were innocent and didn't come here on purpose. He was the one who brought them here, so he was the one to blame. It had nothing to do with them. Big brother, you are so overbearing. Junior brother Yu's voice was low and he was filled with respect. He had been in Evil Alliance for so long and had never seen such an overbearing person. Moreover, he treated him well. Putong. Someone knelt down. A few of the junior brothers behind Bai Zhanfeng couldn't take Blood Sacrifice Old Demon's dark gaze. They knelt on the ground and didn't say a word. One could only see that their bodies were trembling. Lin Fan turned around and realized that there were people kneeling on the ground. He shook his head helplessly. All of you really disappoint me. When the people who knelt on the ground heard those words, they all wanted to grumble. What were they disappointed about? They were too young and were conned by all of you. Blood Sacrifice Old Demon's gaze turned sharp, but he didn't rage. Instead, he laughed. He didn't expect the young people to be so arrogant. Forget it. He would just kill them or use their blood to cultivate. Lin Fan felt that Red Blood sect was not bad. The disciples all worked hard to provide rage points. Even if their cultivation wasn't good, they could provide 66. It was like they acknowledged his character. Are you going to give me the pills or not? The reason why I brought my little brothers to your sect is for a single reason. If you don't hand it over, don't blame me for not going easy on you. Lin Fan hollered out. What he had learned from Lei Yun was to be arrogant and overbearing. If they weren't happy, he would *CK them up. Blood Sacrifice Old Demon was furious. Kid, since you are asking to die, then I will help you. Instantly, a sharp aura exploded from Blood Sacrifice Old Demon's body. That was the aura that only Yin Yang realm experts could give off. Majestic, vast, and endless. Are you not going to give me any face? Lin Fan took a step forward, causing the ground to crack. Immediately after, an illusory figure of a beast floated out of the sky. The 1,000-foot demon ape roared in rage, and a terrifying and violent aura swept the entire area. It was an unparalleled aura that could destroy everything. Lin Fan used Demon Ape Fist. He cultivated it a long time ago, and since he was an evil alliance, naturally, he had to use some fierce technique. The demonic ape fist fit the bill perfectly. Blood Sacrifice Old Demon wanted to strike out and kill Lin Fan. But all of a sudden, when he sensed the horrifying might that was emanating from Lin Fan's body, he was stunned. The feeling of death. He felt the aura of death covering him. He even believed that, if he attacked, he would be killed by the kid. When he had such a thought, Blood Sacrifice Old Demon shook his head. That was impossible. Shwa. Blood Sacrifice Old Demon retracted his aura. Wait, what did you say you were here for? Blood Sacrifice Old Demon asked. Bai Zhanfeng was stunned, but what shocked him the most was what had just happened. How did that thing behind Brother Lin form? Lin Fan said, the brothers behind me lack pills to cultivate and want to get some from your Red Blood sect. Are you going to give them to me? *CK give you a head. But the truth was that Blood Sacrifice Old Demon felt that something was off. Lin Fan's aura was really strong, and even his Yin Yang realm cultivation couldn't handle it. What should he do? He definitely couldn't care about this. He had to report this to the sect leader, and let him decide what to do. This was a messy situation, and if he didn't handle it properly, there was a high chance that he would die. Blood Sacrifice Old Demon calmed down. Oh, so that is the case. Please wait for a moment. I will report to the sect leader. Please wait. What? Blood Sacrifice Old Demons changed, confused by Zhanfeng. Damn. He was about to attack just now, so how did things suddenly turn out like this? Even the Red Blood sect disciples couldn't accept it. What was going on? Lin Fan was already so arrogant. He didn't kill him and instead went to report to the sect leader. What was going on? Lin Fan looked at Bai Zhanfeng and the others. Do you see that? I told all of you that there is no need to worry. Those few kneeling on the ground, get up. How can I bring all of you to improve like this? You are just too cowardly. Bai Zhanfeng was really awkward. He didn't expect things to turn out like this. What was going on with Blood Sacrifice Old Demon? Why did he stop for no reason? Could it be that it was really as he thought? But that was impossible. That didn't make sense. Big brother, I definitely believe you. Junior brother, you believed in Lin Fan. His expression was like he wouldn't believe anyone but Big brother. You do have some talent. Lin Fan nodded and praised. Junior brother Yu was delighted and felt like he was a talented person. Chapter 443. Blood Sacrifice. Old Demon left the spot and panicked as he headed towards the sect leader. Inner hall. The sect leader cultivated hard, and he felt that he was just a little bit away from Tao realm. But that little bit was like the end of the world, and he was unable to comprehend it to become a Tao realm expert. Haze, this really gives me a headache. Tao realm, why is it so difficult for you? The more he thought about it, the more regretful he felt. He was a genius when he was young and was extremely talented. He was recruited by the previous Red Blood sect leader as a disciple. Truthfully, Red Blood sect wasn't good enough for him. He believed that if a slightly stronger sect took him in as a disciple, his achievements would have been much higher and he would have become a Tao realm expert long ago. But he didn't regret it too much. He would rather be the head of a chicken than the tail of a phoenix. If he went to a stronger sect, he might have become a Tao realm expert, but he definitely wouldn't have been the strongest in the sect. But in Red Blood sect, he became the sect leader and was the strongest person. Numerous people respected him and that felt really good. Pung! The door to the inner hall was pushed open. Sect leader, something happened, something huge happened. Blood Sacrifice. Old Demon shouted and panicked. The kid outside was a little strong and he wasn't his match, so he could only ask the sect leader to help. The sect leader was nearly frightened by the commotion. When he saw that it was Blood Sacrifice. Old Demon charging in, he hollered in rage, "What is this? As an elder, how can you panic like this? What are you doing?" At the same time, he was terrified. Luckily, he wasn't cultivating, otherwise, he would have been frightened to death by this fellow. Being frightened to death was a small matter. He would have gone mad from fright. Sect leader, an enemy has come to our sect. Blood Sacrifice. Old Demon said honestly. Just suppress the enemy, so why did you come here? The sect leader frowned and was really unhappy. As an elder, he couldn't solve this problem. How embarrassing. Blood Sacrifice. Old Demon said helplessly, but he seems a little strong. What do you mean a little strong? If he is strong, then he is strong. Sect leader scolded and asked, what is his background and cultivation? Blood Sacrifice. Old Demon didn't know anything and acted a little awkward. Sect leader, I don't know either. He is really young and I thought that he would be easy to deal with. But I realized that he is really strong, even stronger than me. The sect leader was surprised. What did you say? He's very young, but he's stronger than you? When he heard this, he felt that something was wrong. Yes, Grand Master. I'm speaking the truth. Blood Sacrifice. Old Demon nodded furiously, afraid that the sect master wouldn't believe him. He even described the situation. What did he mean when he released his aura? A 300-meter-tall demonic ape appeared behind him. It was truly terrifying. The sect head looked at Blood Sacrifice. Old Demon, and his expression gradually changed. After a long while, the sect leader said slowly, "Do you take me for a fool?" If they didn't take him for a fool, no one would say such a thing. He was still young, but his cultivation was very strong. Did they really think that cultivation was easy? Thinking back to his talent back then, he was extremely talented. But in the end, he was still unable to become a Tao realm expert at this age. Grandmaster, everything I've said is the truth. There's not a single bit of falsehood. Blood Sacrifice. Old Demon swore to heaven. The sect leader shook his head. He got up and said in disappointment, "As an elder, you are actually frightened by a young man. That is just embarrassing. Forget it, let me see how strong this young expert is." Blood Sacrifice. Old Demon was thinking about whether or not the sect leader was his match. It was hard to say. But that aura was something that he had only felt from Tao realm experts. Maybe even the sect leader wasn't his match. The moment he had such a thought, blood sacrifice old demon felt that he was a little terrifying. How could he have such a thought? He saw the sect leader walk outside. He followed right away and told the sect leader about his request. He just wanted some pills, and if he really couldn't, then he could give him some. Outside, Lin Fan stood there calmly. On the contrary, the Red Blood sect disciples looked like they wanted to swallow Lin Fan up. Too arrogant. Brother Lin, do you have confidence? Bai Zhanfeng asked. He was afraid, really afraid. He had never thought that he would experience such a scene. Lin Fan didn't reply and just smiled. What did a smile represent? He comprehended it himself. He didn't want to say too much nonsense. As expected, it was the same as what he had expected. A wave of stimulation. A Tao realm technique that he could cultivate. He had nothing to do now, so why not improve the technique? Improve. Familiar information, familiar consumption. Another Tao realm technique was successfully cultivated. That Tao pattern appeared on his body and then slowly disappeared. There were 82 Tao patterns. He felt like his body was filled with power and he had become stronger. Cultivation was just so simple. This path was doable. Tao Realm Stage 3 was right in front of him. He felt that the gate was loosening and was about to be pushed open by him. Suddenly, a voice spread out from the Red Blood sect disciples. So, the sect leader had appeared. Who dares to cause trouble in Red Blood sect? I want to see what kind of young expert you are to actually be able to make my sect elder feel like he can't handle you. The sect leader hollered in rage. His tone was really bad. The sect leader was furious and decided to suppress him with lightning method. He then scolded blood sacrifice. But instantly, the sect leader's situation was a little off. His majestic footsteps suddenly stopped like he couldn't continue. It wasn't that the sect leader didn't want to leave. But just now, he saw a Tao pattern on Lin Fan's body. Damn. Although he didn't become a Tao realm expert, but he was really familiar with Tao patterns. That was the realm that he dreamed of reaching. The sect leader took in a deep breath and shook his head. He tried his best to open his eyes and see whether or not it was real. At the last moment, that Tao pattern seeped into his body and disappeared. It seems real. The sect leader muttered and his eyes opened wide. If not for so many disciples looking, he would have exclaimed that it was impossible. He looked at the young man in the distance. He was indeed really young. The surrounding disciples were really excited. Sect leader is here. Scoff, these people are unlucky. I didn't expect such a small matter to shock the sect leader. What is going on with the elders? Why didn't they do anything? They were really furious. A bunch of young people dared to cause trouble in their sect, and the elders were prepared to attack. But in the end, they didn't. They couldn't understand what was going on. Brother Lin, that is the sect leader of Red Blood sect. He is really strong and I heard that he is half a step away from Tao realm. Bai Zhanfeng said nervously. Lin Fan looked at the sect leader and smiled. I need some pills. Do you have any? When the Red Blood sect disciples heard this, they all laughed coldly. What a joke. At such a time, he was still thinking about pills. He was not afraid to tell them directly that he didn't have any. But the sect leader's reply stunned them. Ha ha, we definitely do. What pills do you need? The sect leader smiled and replied. He was sure now. Lin Fan was definitely a Tao realm expert. That Tao pattern was definitely real. Lin Fan said, good pills, precious ones, not ugly ones. If you find it troublesome, we can take it ourselves. The sect leader smiled. It is not troublesome. How is it troublesome? Red Blood sect has always been hospitable. For all of you to come here to ask for pills is a sign of your recognition of our sect. Damn. Blood sacrifice old demon looked at the sect leader with his mouth agape. Damn. Was there something wrong with the sect leader's head? What was he saying? He actually said that Red Blood sect was hospitable, but he really didn't come out. Suddenly, Blood sacrifice old demon thought about something. The sect leader realized that Lin Fan wasn't ordinary and was sure that he wasn't as strong as Lin Fan. This was why he wanted to calm him down. Right, that had to be the case, otherwise, it didn't make sense at all. Then, hurry up, we are in a rush, Lin Fan said. The sect leader smiled. Okay, I will arrange it for you. He then instructed someone to take the pills. Bai Zhanfeng was stunned. He didn't dare to believe what he was seeing. How was this asking for pills? This was clearly blatant robbery. As long as he was a human, he definitely wouldn't agree. Moreover, he was the Red Blood sect leader. If he hadn't personally witnessed it, he wouldn't have dared to believe it. He even started to suspect. Was this person really the Red Blood sect leader? The key was that he was too easy to talk to. They were extorting him, so no matter what, they had to fight back. Very quickly, the sect leader walked over with the pills. Take these pills, take them as a gift from Red Blood sect. Bai Zhanfeng looked at the pills greedily. There were good pills. This was something that he didn't dare to imagine in the past. But suddenly, a shocking scene happened. Lin Fan tossed the pills onto the sect leader's body. Do you think I am a beggar with such little pills? Do you have any sincerity? If you don't, then let's fight. Damn. Bai Zhanfeng nearly knelt down. Big brother, this medicinal pill is already very good. Aren't you going a little overboard? Junior brother, you looked at Lin Fan with his mouth agape. He only had one thought in his heart. Big brother will always be big brother. He was going to betray the sect, and only follow Big Brother from now on. Damn, he was just too handsome. The Red Blood sect leader felt a sense of humiliation when the pills smashed onto his body. He clenched his fingers and a low voice spread out. Rage points plus 999. The surrounding disciples were furious, but their rage points had reached the limit and they couldn't provide any more. Just at that moment, the sect leader raised his hand and slammed it down. You bastard, this is my Scarlet Blood sect's esteemed guest. I told you to go get some pills, yet you actually brought these pills over. Aren't you throwing away my Scarlet Blood sect's face? Scram over and take more. If you dare to take less, I'll take your life. The sect leader's slap didn't land on Lin Fan but on the disciple who took the pills. That disciple was stunned. He panicked and went to take more. Bai Zhanfeng knelt down. He was totally impressed by Lin Fan and nearly called him father. Lin Fan was helpless. He didn't expect that the higher one's position was, the more he could take it. Very quickly. This time, the number of pills he brought was much more than before. Lin Fan took them and took a look. He was satisfied and then waved his hands. And not bad. Let's go, we will meet again if we have the chance. Bai Zhanfeng and the others followed closely behind. To them, those scenes were too shocking and they couldn't take it. Chapter 444. Sect Leader, are we going to let them leave just like that? Blood sacrifice old demon was unwilling. Lin Fan came to Red Blood sect and acted so arrogantly. He didn't hold them in any regard at all. The key was that the sect leader changed his temper and welcomed them with a smile. It was obvious that he was shocked and didn't dare to offend them. The sect leader's face was dark and sunken. His gaze was sharp and vicious. It won't end so easily. He didn't dare to attack. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but he wasn't confident. If Lin Fan was really Dao Realm, he wouldn't be able to fight him with his current cultivation. Things might even go wrong. But it was impossible for him to let him off just like that. Great. You can do whatever you want just because you are strong. Does that mean that Red Blood sect doesn't have a backer? No, Red Blood sect's backer was the entire evil alliance. You guard the sect. I will head out. Lin Fan casually distributed the pills to Bai Zhanfeng and the others like he was tossing trash. He didn't care at all. The pills weren't important to him, but they were important to the Evil Alliance disciples. They had never seen these pills in their lives. Bai Zhanfeng took the pills and joy appeared on his face. He was so emotional that he was about to jump up. Brother Lin, these pills are too precious. If you give them to us, you won't have any left. He said a few fake words. Who would be willing to give up on the pills they got? The situation just now was like a roller coaster. His heart couldn't take it and he really thought that he was going to die there. Lin Fan smiled. It's just a pill, it isn't worth mentioning. Your performance just now was too weak. One red blood sect could scare you so much. If you meet a stronger sect later on, won't you all faint? Bai Zhanfeng felt really awkward, but he wasn't angry at all. You were strong, so you were the big brother. Whatever he said was right and it was normal for him to bow down for pills. No matter what he said, he would accept it. Brother Lin, we were too nervous, he replied. He took in a deep breath to ease the nervousness in his heart. Big brother, where are we going next? Junior brother, you had changed the way he addressed Lin Fan. Lin Fan was his big brother and no one could change that. It felt so good. He had never felt so good, and he felt like his 20 years of life had been a waste. Only now did he feel good. Lin Fan said, where to? Of course it's going to continue. You won't be satisfied with just these pills, right? Remember, this is the Evil Alliance. The strong rule, so you have to be lawless. Everyone was looking forward to it. Lin Fan's words made their blood boil. At first, they were really afraid, thinking that this was courting death. However, what happened next changed everyone's opinion. There was only one word to describe it. Awesome. Okay, we will listen to Brother Lin. Bai Zhanfeng said. He threw caution to the wind, and the greed in his heart instantly swelled. This was an opportunity, and if he could seize it, he would soar into the sky in a single bound. It was commonly known as a salted fish turning over a new leaf. Lin Fan looked at Junior Brother Yu. This guy actually had faith power and it was white in color. It went from gray to white. However, only Junior Brother Yu had it. The others didn't. Thinking about it, it made sense. He only had a superficial brotherly relationship with these people. They had needs, and they needed an expert to help them fly. Their hearts were as clear as a mirror. How could they have faith in him just because of a small matter? Let's go. Let's continue. Lin Fan waved his hand and the group continued moving forward. Everyone was pumped up and their blood boiled. They felt like they were doing something huge. Bai Zhanfeng started to suspect Lin Fan's identity. He didn't believe that he was an elder. If he was just an elder, it would be too fake. He had to be hiding something. But very quickly, he shook his head. What was the point of thinking so much? Lin Fan was strong and they were so weak, so what use was there? Maybe it was just a quirk of an expert. They thought it was a pie in the sky, a stroke of luck. If they hadn't gone through the red blood sect matter, they wouldn't have dared to mess around with Lin Fan. But now, they didn't fear anything. They just did it. A few days passed. Lin Fan brought them to many Evil Alliance sections. Although they were all normal sects, they had huge gains. Bai Zhanfeng's excitement turned into numbness. The red blood sect leader was really logical. He knew that he couldn't win, so he admitted defeat and gave him pills. However, the sect leader that they met next was very tough. He summoned the elders to block him. Bai Zhanfeng knew that Lin Fan was strong, but there was a limit to how strong he was. But what happened next shocked everyone. The Grand Master and elders of the sect were all taken down by Lin Fan with lightning speed. It wasn't that intense. It was as simple as crushing ant. He was just too strong. Bai Zhanfeng witnessed everything. He didn't expect that he would personally experience all of this. When he got the pills, he could get as many as he wanted. The pills that were trash to Lin Fan were precious to Bai Zhanfeng and the others. In the past, it was really hard to get them. Lin Fan didn't show any mercy to Evil Alliance. He had to get rage points. That was what he needed. As for the others, he didn't care about them at all. On that day, in the wilderness, Big Brother, will we attract trouble by doing this? Bai Zhanfeng's way of addressing Lin Fan changed. In the past, he called him Brother Lin, but he realized that he wasn't good enough. He had to call him Big Brother to show his respect. Everything that happened during this period of time was something that he didn't dare to imagine in his entire life. Lin Fan said, "There will definitely be trouble, but there is no need to panic. There is enough time for us to do more things. Also, are all of you satisfied now?" Everyone was greedy. He was greedy for rage points. As for Bai Zhanfeng and the others, naturally, they wanted to get what they wanted. But the situation was a little off. Bai Zhanfeng wanted to cry, "Big Brother, we are really satisfied. Look at our pills, we can't even store them anymore. Along the way, we even dropped a lot." Suddenly, Lin Fan recalled. He brought Bai Zhanfeng and the others to many sects and took many pills. At a glance, their bodies were all full and some pills would drop from time to time. Their cultivation was too low and they couldn't open a dimension, so naturally, they couldn't store pills. Logically speaking, the more pills they had, the better. But to them, it was really painful. There were too many pills. Even when pills fell to the ground, they wouldn't pick them up. It wasn't that they didn't want to, but when they bent down to pick them up, they would drop even more pills. Will we be robbed if we return like this? Some disciples were worried. They were already in such a state and still wanted to return to the sect. Were they sick in the head? There was no need to ask whether or not they would be robbed. One could tell them directly that they would definitely be robbed. Are you dumb? Is there a need for us to return like this? That's right. In the past, we had to risk our lives just for a single pill. Now that we have so many pills, it's completely unnecessary. Moreover, I firmly believe that as long as we return, we will definitely be robbed until not a single pill is left. He didn't know what to say about Bai Zhanfeng and the others. But he noticed something amazing. During this period of time, everyone actually had the power of faith. Junior apprentice Brother Yu's faith level had reached blue. The others all reached white. Such a discovery was a little terrifying. At the same time, Lin Fan thought about a possibility. Maybe to raise faith, one had to perform well in front of them to let them know how strong the person they believed in was. Right. Suddenly, Lin Fan thought about something. The Darkness Chief God system belonged to the Western system. Those chief gods rarely scammed people, but they were able to attract so much faith. It should have something to do with the legends. Simply put, legends spread out, and when people found out about it, they would continue to learn more about it. Slowly, they would sense how strong a certain chief god was and start to believe in him. That should have been the case. Just as Lin Fan was thinking about all this, Bai Zhanfeng came over. "Big Brother, we don't want to return to the sect. Can we follow you?" The experiences during this period of time had opened up a new world for them. They were evil path disciples. They were arrogant. But since they met Lin Fan, they felt like their arrogance wasn't worth mentioning at all. From the fear of the first sect, to the nervousness of the second sect, to the numbness and casualness, their mentalities were slowly changing. They felt like this was life. "All of you want to follow me?" Lin Fan looked at them and saw that they were all nodding their heads. Their expressions were really passionate, and it was obvious that they were convinced by his actions. "All of you can follow me, but it will depend on whether or not you listen to me." Junior Brother Yu didn't hesitate at all and was the first to hug his leg. "Big Brother, I am." Shortly after, the others weren't far behind. "Me too. I will definitely listen to you and do whatever you tell me to." Lin Fan smiled and was thinking about something. What he did today would definitely cause a huge commotion, and he would probably be wanted by the Evil Alliance. But before that, he had to earn more rage points. "Okay, since all of you want to follow me, then I will give you a chance." Let's head out now. We still have to continue. Lin Fan got up and waved his hands. He led the group to continue charging. Once things couldn't be hidden anymore, he would tell them to leave. The faith power was decent. God domain continued to get stronger and stronger. Bai Zhanfeng and the others knew that there were too many pills and it was tough for them to even walk. But there was nothing they could do. They could only toss away the pills that they thought weren't good to solve the problem. In the next few days, Evil Alliance was in chaos. Lin Fan was just too much. That wasn't something a human would do. Too many sects faced calamities, and he only chose those normal sections. With his current strength, how could others fight him? They didn't even have a chance to fight back. And on this day, the Evil Alliance top sects found out about this. Chapter 445. Evil Alliance was a huge faction. Although there were many sects that formed the Evil Alliance, the ones that truly controlled the Evil Alliance were the top 10 sections. These top sects could decide everything for Evil Alliance. Of course, the Evil Alliance was established later on. The top 10 sects each sent out some experts to oversee the Evil Alliance to keep each other in check. Red Blood sect leader came to Evil Alliance's land a long time ago to seek help from Evil Alliance to help Red Blood sect take revenge. But things had developed beyond his imagination. After the Evil Alliance members heard his report, they said that it was a small matter and that they would report it up. They arranged for people to head over to Red Blood sect and told him to head back. As soon as he heard this, he knew that it wouldn't do. This was not a small matter, so they had to wait here for news. If there was no news, they would definitely not go back. At this moment, the Scarlet Blood sect master looked at the people going in and out. He stopped one of them and said, "Can you make an exception for me? Is it really a big deal?" The one who was stopped was a young man. Logically speaking, a young man like this would naturally be extremely respectful towards a sect master. But the situation was different. The young man said impatiently, "Why is it you again? How many days have you been here? Didn't I tell you that I have already reported this to you? Evil Alliance will send people to Red Blood sect. If you continue to cause trouble here, I won't be nice to you." Even the Scarlet Blood sect master wanted to beat this kid up. But he didn't dare to. To be able to work in the Evil Alliance, one had to have a position or a backer. If an ordinary sect master like him were to really cause trouble in the Evil Alliance, the consequences would be dire. "Little brother, help me out." The Scarlet Blood sect's grandmaster took out a pill without batting an eyelid and handed it over to the other party secretly. When the man saw the medicinal pill, he was delighted. However, when he saw the medicinal pill, his face filled with displeasure, and he tossed it back. "Do you think I'm a beggar? Or are you trying to bribe me? Let me tell you, that is impossible. The Evil Alliance doesn't exist to take bribes but to solve problems. How many times have I told you to wait?" The main reason was that the level of the pills he took out was too low. He really didn't fancy it. The Crimson Blood sect master was filled with grief and indignation. Was the sect really not valued because it was weak? At this moment, a commotion could be heard from behind. He turned around and saw that many people had arrived. Upon closer inspection, he recognized quite a few of them. They were all elders and sect masters of ordinary sections. Damn it! Why did they suddenly appear here? Could it be that something big had happened? The young man from the Evil Alliance frowned and scolded. "What are you doing? What are all of you trying to do? This is the Evil Alliance, not a place where you can cause a ruckus." His words did not have any effect. The people who attacked him were all crying and wailing in grief. "Evil Alliance, seek justice for my sect. Our Grandmaster is in such a pitiful state." Someone came knocking on our doorsteps, and just because our Grandmaster was indignant, his hands and legs were broken by the other party. In fact, his brain was even pummeled so badly that he's still unconscious right now. This old man is the sect master of the sect. 3 of the sect's elders have been killed, but I'm powerless to avenge them. I'm extremely indignant. The Crimson Blood sect leader looked at everyone in a daze. For some reason, after hearing what they said, he suddenly realized that his sect seemed to be much luckier than them. The Scarlet Blood sect did not suffer too many losses, nor were there any casualties. They only lost some pills. When the Evil Alliance young man heard this, he did not dare to say anything more. He had a feeling that something must have happened. He left right away to report the situation. The Scarlet Blood sect leader asked, "Is the leader of the people you met a young man? He is also really strong and has reached Dao realm?" The crying crowd looked towards the Scarlet Blood sect leader. "I don't know if he is Dao realm or not, but he is really strong and really young." "Right, even my sect is no match for him." "Which sect is he from? How can he bully us like that?" The Scarlet Blood sect leader understood. It seemed like they were really from the same group. For some reason, after hearing about what happened to these people, he felt much better. It was probably because he saw that there were people worse off than him, which made him feel better. The higher-ups of the Evil Alliance were shocked. Naturally, they wouldn't care much about a normal sect asking for help. But for so many sects to ask for help, that was a little weird. The key was, the sect that asked for help was suppressed by a young man. This made the Evil Alliance higher-ups think about something. Lin Wanni's son, Lin Fan, had become a Dao realm expert and their top sects were hunting him down. Based on the situation, didn't that mean that Lin Fan had come to their territory and was causing trouble? That was something that they couldn't accept. The higher-ups of the Evil Alliance met up with these people to ask about the specific situation. They had to worry about it. Evil Alliance knew that they were raising a tiger and that one day they would be hurt by it. At that moment, in a dense forest, Bai Zhanfeng and the others retreated far away. They looked at Lin Fan and didn't know what he was doing. But the aura he gave off was really shocking. "Big Brother is about to break through." "Junior brother," you exclaimed. He was filled with respect. When they were walking, Big Brother said that the environment here was good and he had some ideas. He thought that Big Brother had some unspeakable thought. Moreover, Big Brother told them to back off. He was thinking about whether or not Big Brother was going to release him. Now, it seemed like Big Brother was about to break through to Heaven Realm. He is already so strong. Bai Zhanfeng was really envious. He felt that Big Brother was much younger than him but was so amazing. How did he grow up? Why was the gap so huge? Lin Fan was in a good state. He accumulated a lot of rage points. His hard work during this period of time didn't go to waste. They went to many sects and all of them nearly exploded from his mocking. Some sect leaders and elders knew that he was strong but they didn't believe him and fought him head-on. He wouldn't show any mercy when dealing with evil sections. Since they were asking to die, then he would send them to meet their predecessors. Improve. He had many Dao realm techniques that he hadn't leveled up and what he lacked were rage points. But now that he had accumulated 1,000,000 rage points, it was enough to raise his Dao patterns to 90. At that moment, Dao patterns appeared on Lin Fan's body. Dao realm Dao patterns were just so strong and overbearing. Bai Zhanfeng and the others were just too weak, so how would they know what Dao patterns were? But a terrifying aura covered all of them. They all sensed how overbearing that aura was. At that moment, a storm exploded out with Lin Fan at the center. This time, I can become a Dao realm stage 3 expert. Once I become a Dao realm stage 3 expert, I can go wherever I want in this world. Lin Fan was waiting for this day. A while ago, he felt so frustrated and was unable to fight back against the strongest 9-star generals. It was just so embarrassing. But all of that was in the past. Improve. 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 Hong Long. Heaven and earth shook. More and more Tao patterns appeared on Lin Fan's body. Each Tao pattern was like a giant dragon that circled around his body. The sky was ripped open by a power and numerous specks of light scattered down. The energy needed for his Tao body and Tao essence was also sufficient. At that moment, Lin Fan opened his eyes and an unknown power descended from above. To others, this power was foreign, but to Lin Fan, he was familiar with it. Power of heaven and earth, the strength of Tao realm stage 3, yin-yang 5 element. A strong wind swept up. The sky was gray and lightning flashed within. At the same time, there was a low rumble of thunder. The commotion was huge. Thinking about it, one could understand. Tao realm stage 3 yin-yang 5 elements power was different. It contained the power of heaven and earth, so it was normal for it to cause such a huge impact. In the extreme distance, Evil Alliance territory, many experts were affected by the shaking and looked into the distance. Even if they were tens of thousands of miles away, they could sense that power. In a certain cave, an old man who was as thin as a stick sat cross-legged on a stone platform. His eyes were closed and he didn't move at all. In front of the old man was a blood lotus that gave off a devilish red light. Blood threads slowly floated out from the blood lotus and merged into the old man's body. The old man's skin seemed like it could breathe. As the blood threads merged into it, his skin would slowly swell and then fall. It was like he was breathing. Breathing in and out, it was really rhythmic. Suddenly, the old man opened his eyes and his expression was one of shock. He sensed that in the distance, someone was at Tao realm stage 3 yin-yang 5 element. I have never sensed such strength before. It wasn't that Tao realm stage 3 was amazing. The key was that the influence of heaven and earth was really terrifying, and it definitely wasn't something that someone at Tao realm stage 3 could cause. But the yin-yang 5 elements were boiling and it was obvious that someone was at Tao realm stage 3. At that moment, the old man got up and headed into the dimension. He wanted to see what that thing was. To the evil path, any living being that moved was a huge supplement. Especially to such an expert, they had many methods and it was extremely easy for them to steal the life force of others. Not only was the old man attracted, but many people around were attracted by the aura. Lin Fan totally released himself. Tao realm stage 3, 90 Tao patterns, that was enough to shock everyone. Instantly, a pillar of light descended and covered Lin Fan. Lin Fan got up. His Tao essence and Tao body had a shocking change. Yin-yang 5 elements wrapped around his body and rotated both inside and out. His strength climbed. From today onwards, I won't be beaten up so badly that I have to run. The changes brought about by Tao realm stage 3 made Lin Fan more confident. Slowly, the ripples from the advancement slowly dissipated. Big brother, junior brother, you wanted to charge over and protect Lin Fan's legs. That was just too overbearing. But right as he was about to charge over, Lin Fan stopped him. All of you can leave. Lin Fan said. Junior brother, you said. Big brother, why? Could it be that we did something wrong? Lin Fan looked towards the dimension in the distance. An expert is coming. All of you are just dragging him down. If you don't want to die, then run as far as you can. Big brother, take care. Junior brother, you didn't say anything more. He cupped his fists and left. The others followed closely behind and left without turning back. Damn. Lin Fan took a look. How realistic. Chapter 446. Lin Fan got up. He touched 9 demons' 9 heads and waited quietly. The commotion when he broke through was a little huge. It was normal for experts to be drawn over. The experts that were drawn over in Evil Alliance territory were naturally the old demons of the evil path. Lin Fan didn't think about leaving. He became a Dao Realm Stage 3 expert, so naturally, he had to be strong. Otherwise, he would feel helpless if he didn't win a battle. Instantly, the aura got closer and closer. With a crack, the dimension ripped open and a person walked out. He was really strong. The way he made his entrance also clearly showed that he was an expert. An old man walked out from the dimension. He looked around with a deep gaze and in the end, his gaze stopped on Lin Fan. When he saw Lin Fan, the old man's expression changed and he was filled with disbelief. He had a unique gaze and didn't want to believe that Lin Fan broke through. But the Dao Realm aura that spread out from Lin Fan's body spread in the air. Apart from him, who else could it be? The old man asked, "Who are you?" Lin Fan said, "Shouldn't you introduce yourself before asking who you are?" "I am 9 Evil Spirit Hall's Evil Spirit Old Ancestor. Now, can you tell me who you are?" Evil Spirit Old Ancestor asked. He felt that the kid in front of him wasn't simple. He reached Dao Realm Stage 3 at such a young age. Wait, so young. Was he didn't show it right away and just asked. Lin Fan said, "Martial Path Mountain Sect Leader Lin Fan, I think you know who I am." That was indeed the case. The Alliance wanted him, and so did the other sections. Due to his strength, normal sects didn't have the right to know. Those who knew were the top sections. Evil Spirit Old Ancestor wasn't weak, and he was from a sect, so he definitely knew about him. I didn't expect that the person wanted by the Alliance would actually appear in front of me. One has to say that fate plays tricks on people. I didn't believe it at first, but it seems like the rumors were true. Since you are sure that I know who you are, then why don't you run? Evil Spirit Old Ancestor had a thought. He wanted to capture Lin Fan and use his strength to improve. The evil path had many methods to increase their strength. Apart from normal cultivation, one of them was to steal other people's strength. Lin Fan said, "That is what I wanted to say. Since you know who I am, then why don't you run?" Evil Spirit Old Ancestor was stunned by Lin Fan's words. It was obvious that he didn't expect someone to say such a thing. He then laughed out loud. "Interesting, truly interesting. I have roamed the world for 100 years and I have never met someone like you. Do you think that just because your father is Lin Wani, I won't dare to do anything to you?" Lin Fan asked, "So you also know my father?" He suddenly felt the pressure of being the son of his father. "People always say that you are Lin Wani's son?" He really hoped that when other people saw his father, they would say that he was Lin Fan's father so that they wouldn't dare to attack him. That was the best feeling. Evil Spirit Old Ancestor squinted his eyes, like he was reminiscing, but his expression was a little ugly. In the past, when he was in Dao Realm, Lin Wani was just a kid. When he was still at Dao Realm, Lin Wani reached Dao Realm too. For no reason, Lin Fan caught up to him and he didn't even defend himself at all. "Kid, stop talking so much nonsense. You are wanted by the Alliance and also by the Evil Alliance. As expected, you are a problem and leaving you alive is a problem. I will give you 2 choices, surrender or I will beat you to death." Evil Spirit Old Ancestor didn't want to say anything more. Lin Fan clenched his fists and muttered, "I broke through to Dao Realm Stage 3 and haven't experienced my strength. Since that is the case, then I will use you to test it out. Evil Alliance people all deserve to die. Since you sent yourself to me, then I will take you in." "Arrogant. Even your father isn't as arrogant as you." Evil Spirit Old Ancestor was so infuriated by Lin Fan. Lin Fan said, "The disciple is better than the master. The bug body is used to deal with 9-star generals, and you don't need it anymore." The moment he said this, a sword intent that tore apart the sky rose into the air and slashed down. Evil spirit old ancestor raised his head and his expression was solemn. What a strong sword intent. But if that was all, it was far from enough. The sword intent slashed down and a barrier appeared on evil spirit old ancestor's body. The sword intent collapsed and so did the barrier. They were on the same level. Lin Fan clenched his fingers and the power of the 5 elements gathered in his fist. He punched forwards and a rainbow roared. A bright veil appeared in the sky. So strong? Evil spirit old ancestor frowned. He opened his arms and dimension appeared. There was more than one dimension and they stacked on top of one another. Any power that shot in would be swallowed. 1. The dimension shook like it was being struck by something. Evil spirit old ancestor didn't dare to be careless. This kid was too strong and the power that exploded from his attacks was shocking. No wonder the Alliance wanted to kill this kid. Although Evil Alliance cared about him, they didn't care as much as the Alliance. Now, it seemed like they were wrong. They should have been the ones who cared and not the Alliance. At this moment, Lin Fan was feeling really good. He felt like his body was unobstructed and every move he made was filled with terrifying power. Yin Yang and the 5 elements represented the power to flip heaven and earth. Old man, take another move. I haven't played with the sword in a long time. Lin Fan hollered. He opened his arms and a sky full of sword shadows floated in the air. He pressed down with his palms and a sky full of sword intent pressed forwards. This kid isn't simple. Evil spirit old ancestor was shocked. He pushed forwards with one palm and in the blink of an eye, he slapped out hundreds of times. Hong long. The sword intent landed. It was as if there was something blocking it and it started to crackle. Evil spirit old ancestor felt the pressure increase and he was filled with disbelief. He was just at Dao Realm Stage 3, so how could he be so strong? He was at Dao Realm Stage 6, and even if he wasn't the top of Stage 6, he couldn't be underestimated. Oh right, this kid must be good at long-range attacks and not close combat. I cultivate the evil path and my close combat skills aren't weak, so I can only do this. Pung. Evil spirit old ancestor disappeared from the spot. He tore open the dimension and dodged the attack. He appeared in front of Lin Fan and hollered before punching towards him. Lin Fan felt great releasing his Dao essence and using a big move, but he didn't expect evil spirit old ancestor to appear in front of him and punch him. Was he going to fight him head-on? Not bad. He was someone with ideas. Lin Fan took evil spirit old ancestor's punch head-on. His body shook and the surrounding space shattered. The power of the punch spread outward. Old man, since you like to fight head-on, then I shall fight with you. I forgot to tell you that I am a dual cultivator. With your current state, you are no match for me. The moment he said this, Lin Fan's palms pressed forwards. Evil spirit old ancestor's expression changed. He raised his head to block, but he felt a terrifying power spread towards him. He was unable to block it and his chest was struck by the palms. The blood in his body boiled. Poochie. Evil spirit old ancestor couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His body fell to the ground and smashed a deep hole. How did this happen? He didn't dare to believe that this was real. Lin Fan was just at Dao Realm Stage 3, so why was he so terrifying? Impossible, this was definitely impossible. Something was definitely wrong. Lin Fan muttered to himself. As expected, he was really strong. This power was just too explosive. Dao Realm Stage 3 was several times stronger than Stage 2, at least 10 times. Especially since he was a dual cultivator, the increase in strength was really terrifying. Suddenly, Lin Fan opened his eyes wide. The originally clear sky had suddenly turned red. Damn. Wasn't this weather a little too unpredictable? Brat, this old man has underestimated you. However, your time of death has come. A low voice came from below. At the same time, a blood lotus floated up and bloomed. The petals were really devilish and numerous blood threads swept out and merged into the old man's body. I am cultivating a demonic technique, and I am just a little bit away from succeeding. But you actually forced me to such a stage. Damn, I shall use your head as an apology. Evil spirit old ancestor was furious. He was forced to such a stage and he couldn't take it anymore. What an evil aura! Lin Fan looked below and was attracted by the blood lotus. What a beautiful flower! Lin Fan thought about it. He had an idea. He charged down and broke the aura that the blood lotus gave off. He opened his fingers and grabbed the blood lotus before running into the distance. But the blood lotus was still giving off blood thread. It didn't stop just because Lin Fan snatched it. Lin Fan opened the dimension and tossed the blood lotus in. He closed the dimension. At that moment the entire area was silent. Evil spirit old ancestor, who was in the deep hole, was stunned. He didn't say anything and didn't move at all. Instantly, a deafening roar erupted. Brat, return the blood lotus to me. Lin Fan shook his head. No, you didn't take good care of it. If you want to improve, then so be it. Why did you have to take this blood lotus out? It was okay if you took it out, but why did I grab it right away? You didn't protect it at all. This is your fault and it has nothing to do with me. He really didn't expect things to turn out like this. He thought that the blood lotus that evil spirit old ancestor took out would have a strong attack. Who knew that he would be able to get it so easily? Looking at how furious evil spirit old ancestor was, he didn't know what to say. Maybe this was the saying of extreme joy turning to sorrow. Kid, return it to me. Evil spirit old ancestor grabbed towards Lin Fan. He was about to go mad. The blood lotus itself was a god item, and at the same time, it contained the power that he had cultivated for many years. Come and chase me. Lin Fan ran right away. Killing wasn't his goal. He wasn't a bloodthirsty person. Anyway, he had already experienced his strength, and that was enough. Now that he snatched evil spirit old ancestor's item, this old fellow wouldn't forget about him for the rest of his life. That was good. Chapter 447 F***CKU Evil spirit old ancestor rarely cursed. With his status, saying such words would damage his image. But now, he had tossed his status and image to the back of his head. If he didn't say some vicious words, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to take it and would explode on the spot. Lin Fan ran right away and he ran really quickly. Come back. Evil spirit old ancestor hollered and chased closely. If time could flow backwards, he swore that he wouldn't have taken out the blood lotus. Unfortunately, how could time flow backwards? He just wanted to chase up to Lin Fan and get the blood lotus back. If the situation allowed it, he wanted to rip Lin Fan's body into pieces. At that moment, one chased and one ran. The two of them disappeared from the spot. It was a chase and the chances of evil spirit old ancestor catching up to Lin Fan were low. But even if it was low, he had to go all out. Bai Zhan Feng and the others were in trouble. They fled with all their might, thinking that they had run far enough, but who would have thought that there would be a terrifying gust of wind behind them, blowing them all over the place, almost blowing them into the sky. This is just too terrifying. Everyone looked into the distance. There would be flashes of light and giant dragon-like lightning. It was like the end of the world. Junior brother Yu was thinking about how Big Brother was doing. He didn't know what was going on. They did not dare to get close, and could only run as far away as they could. However, they had already run so far away, yet they were still affected by the shockwave. This could only mean that the battle their big brother was facing was definitely very intense. If an ordinary person got close, they would be smashed into pieces and completely finished. Senior brother, where are we going now? Junior brother, you asked. After separating from big brother, they had no destination and didn't know where to go. Naturally, they couldn't return to the sect. Just look at how rich they are right now. Just like what he said, if they dared to go back, they would be wiped clean. Bai Zhanfeng said, we have enough pills. Let's find a place to cultivate and wait for Big Brother to appear. Then, we will join him. Everyone agreed with this suggestion. They recognized Big Brother and were prepared to fight to the death. This was what life was like in the past? Alright, let's do it that way. We'll quickly find a place to hide and cultivate. I have a feeling that one day in the future, we'll definitely become apex experts. It was good to have dreams. They all agreed with this dream, and felt that nothing would go wrong. Brat, stop right there. Evil spirit old ancestor hollered in rage. His face was really vicious. He didn't expect the kid to run so quickly, and he couldn't catch up at all. Lin Fan turned around and said, you can catch up to me yourself. Your blood lotus is not bad. When we get back, I will boil some oil and cook your blood lotus. Damn it. Evil spirit old ancestor was so furious that his liver hurt. He felt like there was a ball of flames burning in his heart. He felt that his luck today was not very good. He was cultivating in seclusion in the cave. Suddenly, he sensed a shocking phenomenon in the distance and came out to take a look out of curiosity. He did not expect to meet the wanted Lin Wani's son. Even Dao Realm Stage 3 was just SOSO. The blood lotus floated in front of him, telling him that he had not been a match for him just now because he had not unleashed his ultimate move. Now that he was going to unleash his ultimate move, it was time for him to suffer a tragic fate. However, no matter how much he thought about it, he never expected that the other party would not play by the rules and directly snatch his blood lotus. Just tell me, isn't this behavior very despicable? See la. Just at that moment, the dimension ripped open and someone walked out from within. They were all attracted by the commotion caused by Lin Fan's breakthrough. Evil spirit old ancestor, what are you doing? The person who walked out of the dimension was also an expert. Right away, he saw the furious evil spirit old ancestor. He was really curious about who had the ability to infuriate evil spirit old ancestor to such an extent. Evil spirit old ancestor recognized who it was. Abyss Demon Path's old ancestor Moi. Nothing much. Naturally, he wouldn't tell him that Lin Fan had snatched his blood lotus, and that he was chasing after it. Otherwise, Lin Fan would definitely think about snatching it. Old Ancestor Moi naturally didn't believe that evil spirit Old Ancestor would show such an expression. He looked into the distance. A weird expression appeared on his face. Lin Fan was really young, but evil spirit Old Ancestor was actually unable to catch up to him. There was a huge problem here. Suddenly, Lin Fan turned his head and said, "Evil spirit Old Ancestor, stop acting. Your blood lotus is in my hands. If nothing happened, why would you chase me for so long?" "Kid, what nonsense are you saying?" Evil spirit Old Ancestor was furious. Damn, he actually told him the truth. Shortly after, he looked at Old Ancestor Moi and had a bad feeling. His eyes gave off a weird glow that made him panic. Old Ancestor Moi said, "Brother Evil Spirit, this kid actually stole your treasure. I can't take this lying down. I will help you, and I will definitely help you get the blood lotus back." The moment he said this, Old Ancestor Moi sped up and chased towards Lin Fan aggressively, like he really wanted to help evil spirit Old Ancestor get the treasure back. But his true goal was to keep the blood lotus for himself. This was a good thing. If he could absorb the essence within, it would be of great help to him. "No need, I will handle this myself." Evil spirit Old Ancestor obviously knew what he was thinking. If Lin Fan really snatched it, how would he be able to get it back? Old Ancestor Moi waved his hand. What are you saying? Now that we have formed the evil alliance, your problem is my problem. How can I not do anything? Kid, I advise you to return the treasure. Otherwise, if I catch you, I will turn you into a corpse demon. Lin Fan turned around and smiled. He then took out the blood lotus from the dimension. At that moment, to those from the evil path, their noses instantly smelled that appetizing smell. Old Ancestor Moi's eyes opened wide and he was really shocked. How long did evil spirit Old Ancestor refine it for such shocking strength? Get it, he had to get it. Even if he had to fight evil spirit Old Ancestor, he wouldn't care. Instantly, evil spirit Old Ancestor's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets and he hollered in rage. You dare! Lin Fan pinched and tore off a lotus leaf. He placed it in his mouth and tasted it slowly. It was sweet and it tasted really good. Evil spirit Old Ancestor hollered in rage. His hair stood on their ends and he nearly exploded on the spot. He didn't expect that Lin Fan would actually dare to attack his blood lotus. Kid, I swear to the heavens that if I don't kill you, I am not a human. He hollered and his eyes turned red. As he was too emotional, the surrounding space started to ripple. It was obvious that he was extremely furious. Old Ancestor Moi felt really bad. What a waste. Didn't this kid know the use of the blood lotus? He actually wasted it like that. What a waste. Also, what was going on with evil spirit Old Ancestor? How did he get such an important thing? He didn't understand. He came too late and didn't see what happened at the start. But since the kid was able to survive evil spirit Old Ancestor's attack, that was enough to show that his cultivation was really strong. Damn. How did he have such strong cultivation at such a young age? Suddenly, Old Ancestor Moi thought about something. Brother Evil Spirit, is this kid the son of the wanted Lin Wani? When he saw the wanted order from the Alliance, he thought that it was impossible. How could someone reach Dao Realm at such a young age? Didn't that mean that he didn't care about anyone in the world? But the truth proved that it was true. This was why he wanted to capture this kid and study him to see what he relied on to become so strong. Yes, it is him. Evil Spirit Old Ancestor replied. He was on the verge of a mental breakdown but he hadn't gone mad. Old Ancestor Moi said, Brother Evil Spirit, I will work with you. You take back your blood lotus and I only want him. How about that? Okay. Evil Spirit Old Ancestor didn't hesitate. What he wanted the most now was the blood lotus. It was his item but he didn't expect that it would become like this. Lin Fan tasted one petal and it tasted good. It was sour and sweet and there was a mysterious power that flowed into his body. No wonder Evil Spirit Old Ancestor wanted to chase him so badly. So, that was the reason. Suddenly, the sky shook and turned black. A dark voice spread into his ears. Limitless Demon Path. So, it was Old Ancestor Moi. He cultivated some kind of shocking demonic technique and was really strong. He actually opened up a demonic path and suppressed the dimension. This demon path led to Lin Fan. In the blink of an eye, Old Ancestor Moi appeared in front of Lin Fan. He was really calm and smiled. Kid, I will personally attack. Just stay here. The moment he said this, Old Ancestor Moi opened his hands and grabbed towards Lin Fan. Black mist boiled around his fingers, and each finger seemed to have a black whirlpool wrapped around it. A huge suction force exploded out from it. Amazing! Lin Fan praised. With a low growl, he clenched his fist and punched towards the other party. Be careful. Evil Spirit Old Ancestor reminded Old Ancestor Moi. He suddenly thought about how terrifying this kid's strength was. He might have looked like he was only at Dao Realm Stage 3, but the power that he used was really terrifying. Don't worry, I won't kill him. Old Ancestor Moi replied and then looked at Lin Fan. Suddenly, his expression changed. Lin Fan's fist was like that of a son. Pung! Old Ancestor Moi's palm and Lin Fan's fist clashed. He felt like his palm was about to crack and a power surged towards him. Hong Long! Old Ancestor Moi flew backward. His eyes opened wide in disbelief and he smashed into the ground. Evil spirit Old Ancestor was helpless. He didn't tell him to be careful or he would kill him. He just told him to be careful. Unfortunately, he was still too slow. Old Ancestor Moi was too arrogant and thought that he could casually kill Lin Fan just because he was at Dao Realm Stage 3. What he didn't know was that Lin Fan's realm was so unreasonable. He had suffered a huge loss before. Now, Old Ancestor Moi suffered another loss. Forget it. Lin Fan clenched his fists. The feeling of beating someone up was the best. Who wanted to be beaten up? You guys discuss slowly. I will leave first. Evil spirit Old Ancestor obviously wouldn't let Lin Fan leave. Kid, come back. Old Ancestor Moi climbed up from the deep hole. He shook his head and was a little stunned. What happened? How did this happen? When he came back to his senses, Old Ancestor Moi cried out and followed. It was obvious that he was unwilling and wanted to continue fighting to the death with Lin Fan. How could he lose? Chapter 448. The spirits of the two old devils were commendable as they chased after him relentlessly. They didn't think about letting Lin Fan leave. Evil spirit Old Ancestor wanted to get the Blood Lotus no matter what. Old Ancestor Moi was beaten up and couldn't accept such an outcome. He felt that he was careless and fell for the kid's trick. Anyway, he wasn't happy and swore to fight to the death with Lin Fan. Kid, return the thing to me. Damn, I was just careless. If you have balls, then stop and fight for 300 rounds. I will definitely refine you into a corpse demon. The two of them were really arrogant, but Lin Fan didn't care about them at all. But it was still okay. Old Ancestor Moi provided him with some rage points, as expected from a big shot. The moment he started, it reached 999 rage points. 3 streaks of light slashed across the sky. It added a mysterious color to it. At that moment, the dimension opened and a few more old demons arrived. They were all peak experts from the top evil sections. They weren't in the sect and were cultivating outside. When they sensed the commotion here, they were all drawn over. When they arrived, they saw Moi and Evil Spirit chasing a young man. They were really curious. Brother Moi, what are you doing? An old demon asked. Old Ancestor Moi saw that more people came, so how could he tell them the truth? Nothing much. Another old demon asked, Brother Evil Spirit, who are you chasing? Evil Spirit Old Ancestor said, We aren't chasing anyone. It is just a small matter. The moment he said this, the two of them disappeared. All the old demons looked at one another. Do you believe what the two of them said? Who do you believe? How can two old ancestors chasing someone be a small matter? I think that there is definitely something huge. Did they find out that the young man has a treasure and want to split it? That is possible. Let's go and chase. How can we let them keep it to themselves? All the old demons felt like that was the case, otherwise, such a thing wouldn't have happened. Did they really think that they were fools? Then, something unprecedented happened in the Evil Alliance. A bunch of old demons tore through the sky and chased a young man. Old Ancestor Moi and Evil Spirit Old Ancestor looked like they had seen a ghost. Damn. Are you guys sick in the head? This has nothing to do with you. Why do you have to join in the fun? The one who was the most afraid was Evil Spirit Old Ancestor. His blood lotus was on Lin Fan's body, and he suffered heavy losses. If the kid was really suppressed, then the chances of him getting the complete blood lotus back were just too low. F***CK. Lin Fan turned around to take a look and almost jumped in fright. What the hell? Where did these guys come from? Why are they all chasing after me? I don't think I've offended them before. Forget it. Since he was already here, he might as well follow him. Evil spirit, your blood lotus is with me. I can understand why you chased after me. But what's going on with them? Or did you leak the secret that I have a treasure on me? If you think you can take me down just by relying on numbers, then stop dreaming. Lin Fan turned around. He didn't care if the other party believed him or not. He just wanted to brag. Return my blood lotus. Evil spirit, old ancestor hollered. As for what Lin Fan said at the end, he didn't care at all. It didn't matter to him if he didn't care, but the important thing was that the old demons who were following behind him heard it clearly. As expected, it was the same as what he guessed. Evil spirit and Moi chased him because he had a treasure on him. A treasure that even Dao realm experts coveted had to be extremely terrifying. Everyone looked at one another. Although they didn't say anything, they instantly understood what was going on. That was to get their hands on the treasures together. Why do I feel like something isn't right? Old ancestor Moi thought about it and his heart jumped a little quickly. But all of that wasn't important anymore. Since others were chasing him, he had to. Moreover, he wasn't chasing for nothing. Just like what he said, he wasn't weaker than anyone in his life. Him hammering him to the ground was an insult. How could he accept that? He had to prove to everyone that he wasn't so weak. A bunch of experts chased him. They passed by some sections. Not to mention those weaker sects, when they sensed the aura, they were so terrified that they shivered and didn't dare to do anything. But their hearts were filled with shock. What was going on? Was there a sect war? Otherwise, why would there be so many experts chasing him? The aura was just terrifying. The sky turned turbid like it was the end of the world. Old ancestor Moi turned his head. This has nothing to do with all of you. There is no need for all of you to join in. He didn't know what was going on with these old demons. Did all of them eat the wrong medicine? Brother Moi, we aren't joining in. We are just looking. Don't treat us like we are important. An old demon replied. Damn. Their words were like farts. They were just looking? What was there to look at? These bunch of dogs were just so infuriating. A certain top evil sect. An old demon who was in charge of the sect was shocked when he sensed the changes in the sky. What was going on? What was going on with these old fellows? It was rare to see them in the past, but now they were all gathered together. It seemed like they were chasing someone. He didn't think that anyone could survive the attacks of a bunch of old demons. Now, there was only one possibility for a group of peerless demons to make a move at the same time. An astonishing supreme treasure had appeared in this world, and this group of old demons couldn't sit still any longer, so they all came out to fight for it. This was the only reason that could explain it. Since that was the case, then what was he thinking about? He had to chase and join in the fight for the treasure. In the air, a bunch of old demons chased, and they all looked at one another. Why are you here too? Kiki, the treasure belongs to the fated, so what if I am here? But I really want to ask, why haven't you caught up to him? Fine, I'll make a move and stop that fellow. The moment he said this, the old demon disappeared from the spot. He looked at the person in the distance and raised his hand. Destruction palm. Instantly, a palm tore through the sky and smashed towards Lin Fan. Hong Long. Lin Fan turned around and was stunned. F***CK. Why did so many people suddenly appear? It was really weird. Someone attacked. He couldn't take it anymore and punched, shattering the palm. The old demon who attacked was shocked. He hid and didn't say anything more. In that short clash, he realized that this person wasn't simple. He wasn't weaker than him, especially when fighting for treasures. It was best to be low profile and not be too careless. That day, the Evil Alliance's territory was shaken, the heavens covered in evil energy. Countless exceptional vicious demons appeared, crossing the void, all of them chasing after a single person. Lin Fan ran really quickly. The Tao essence in his body was endless and he didn't feel tired at all. Anyway, he just ran. Old Ancestor Moi felt that things weren't right. There were more and more people. Where did they come from? It didn't seem like any news was leaked. With so many ferocious demons traversing the void, unless one was blind, no one would be able to sense the situation here. The bunch of old demons were sure that Lin Fan had a treasure on him, so they all wanted it. No one was willing to give up. They were like a bunch of mad dogs. No matter what, as long as there were people chasing, then there was definitely something good. No one was willing to give up. Stop right there. Give me back my things. Evil spirit Old Ancestor hollered in rage. His eyes turned red. More and more people followed, and if this continued, the outcome would be catastrophic. His blood lotus would definitely be split up. What evil spirit Old Ancestor didn't know was that his behavior was undoubtedly a forceful injection for the many peerless old devils. At the start, some old demons suspected that there was a misunderstanding. But now, the misunderstanding was gone and what replaced it was trust. Shameless evil spirit. They were still here and he actually asked him to return the treasure to him. Did he even respect them? Lin Fan turned his head. How can I give it to you? If I hand it over, can you get it? It would have been split up long ago. Evil spirit Old Ancestor hollered. That is mine, who dares to snatch it? I dare. I dare too. The fated one gets it. Don't think about keeping it for yourself. Evil spirit Old Ancestor. Damn, were they even humans? Evil spirit Old Ancestor hollered. That is mine and has nothing to do with you. Kiki, brother evil spirit, your words are too much. Who do you think you are? Do you think you can suppress us? Right, I don't believe that you dare to keep it for yourself. Even 9 evil spirit hall won't dare to protect you. When Lin Fan heard the voices behind him, he thought about it and felt like something wasn't right. Now that he heard it, he understood. So many people thought that he had a treasure on him, which was why they followed. He understood. Evil spirit Old Ancestor, don't go overboard. The treasure is mine, so don't even think about taking it from me. Lin Fan hollered in rage. Everyone's eyes lit up. As expected, it was a treasure. As for what evil spirit Old Ancestor said, it wasn't important anymore. Anyway, they wouldn't believe him. Who didn't want to get the treasure? Evil spirit Old Ancestor was in a frenzy, but Lin Fan's words woke him up. Not good, he had fallen for a trap. What did the kid say? He actually said that he wanted to take the treasure from him. Looking at those old demons chasing behind him, he felt like things weren't right. Guys, stop chasing. Don't fall for this kid's tricks. He is Lin Wani's son, someone wanted by the evil alliance. He stole the blood lotus from my hands and I am chasing him to get it back. Evil spirit Old Ancestor said. But wait, what were their gazes? Why did it feel like they were looking at an idiot? Shut up, evil spirit. I didn't expect you to be so shameless. If you didn't say anything, I would have felt that there was something wrong with this. But now, I understand that you just want to keep it for yourself. They were all old demons who had roamed the world for hundreds of years. Who didn't know that Lin Wani was the top expert in the world? Since this kid was Lin Wani's son, then they understood that he definitely had a treasure. Otherwise, they wouldn't believe that he could reach such a realm at such a young age. It had to be because of the treasure. Evil spirit was really despicable and shameless. Damn, evil spirit Old Ancestor nearly spat out a mouthful of blood. Why didn't they believe his words? P.S. I recommend a book called Max Director. Those who are interested can take a look. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.